Greetings, Earthlings, and welcome to the Wadcast Podcast. I have no idea why I just did that, but welcome to the Wadcast Podcast. I am your host, Eddie Ift. I'm sitting here all alone in my living room, just recording the intro to the Wadcast Podcast. I should probably get to it quickly because I know some of you fast forward through the intro. You're like, come on, man, I just want to hear the interview. All right, so let's move quickly. Thank you guys for listening. Thanks for being a part of the show. Our guest tonight, Kane, one of the smartest minds in fitness, if you ask me. That is my opinion. Many people know that. Anyone that knows Kenny knows that. The guy was a brilliant athlete, an incredible coach, maybe incredible athlete, brilliant coach. Either or. Great father, great friend, funny dude. He's just all around, just a wonderful human being. If I was caught with a dead hooker in my bed or found a dead hooker in my bed, he is not my phone call. He's not that friend, because I would call him and he would go, "Oh, Eddie, what are you doing? My God, you're better than that." He would try to, reprimand me. I'd call someone else. You call scumbags for that. Not Kenny, not a scumbag. One of the best human beings alive. And I'm glad to have him as a friend, and he shed some knowledge on us, some stuff. Very, very interesting stuff. We go deep with Kenny Kane today. So enjoy the episode. Thanks for helping out. If you like the show, best thing to do, go to wadcastpodcast.com, donate $5 per month, and you are going to get yourself in the running for a Myopux and a leopard claw. You ask yourself, what's that? The leopard claw is the soft tissue multi-tool designed for versatile self-mobilization. I used it earlier tonight on my elbow. The leopard claw increases blood flow while breaking up restrictions in the tissues, and this ultimately helps you move better. The Myopux is the portable and affordable electronic muscle stimulation and TENS device. The Myopux increases blood flow, but most importantly, removes the waste to help you recover more efficiently. Myopux will also decrease pain associated from overuse. And if you order one of these at myopux.com or the Leopard Claw, you can know that some of the proceeds go to help the Resiliency Project that gets these tools downrange to our troops, the guys that are out there fighting in the field that get injuries. This helps them out, takes care of them, and it's a game changer for them, for you. Get yourself one, and the winner that got themselves one today is, you guys are never going to believe this, Gordon Wagner, probably one of our longest, dearest fans of the show, friend of the show. Gordon, time to hook you up to one of these. How random is that Gordon Wagner won? So, you guys, $5, you can be the guy. $5 a month, wadcastpodcast.com. And thank you, Gordon. Enjoy this episode. A couple other things. Please rate, review, and comment on iTunes. Just please do it. It helps. Here's what happens. We go up in the ratings. More people find out about the show. You know how people can find out about the show? Go to your gym and tell people about the show. Okay, you know what podcast is really good? Wadcast Podcast. Word of mouth is a really good way to spread podcasting. To hear people. I don't know what I'm saying. I feel like I'm drunk. It's the best way to spread the word is what I'm saying. So do us a favor. Tell your whole gym. If you've got a Facebook page that your gym's on, post the link. Tell everyone. Say, hey, gym members, check this out. You want to get some knowledge? You want to hear about CrossFit? You want to laugh a little? This is the show for you. I think we should probably do banners or stickers or hats. I'm thinking hats next. Everybody like the flat bill? Maybe I'll do some Wadcast Podcast hats. Maybe some T-shirts. And then you guys can wear them to my shows when you all show up for my shows, like CrossFit Midtown from Atlanta did. They showed up at my shows this weekend after they beat the shit out of me. Also, B2B CrossFit in Atlanta did a good job. So, see, I tour all over the country doing stand-up comedy, and then I pop into CrossFits everywhere. This week, I have a crazy week. I will be the 21st, which is Friday night, I'll be doing Skank Fest in Long Island City, and I'd love to stop into Jay Hatchdorian's gym. Don't know if I'll have time, but he's got a Gantry CrossFit, I believe it is, in Long Island City. Hopefully I can stop in there. The 22nd, I'm going to be down in New Jersey at I should probably know where, Mount Holly, New Jersey. Mount Holly, there's some restaurant there. I'm doing a gig. It's a weird thing. That's on Saturday night. 23rd, I'll be in Stone Harbor, New Jersey. I don't think there's a CrossFit anywhere around there. If there is, I'm popping in. Okay, because I'm there the 23rd. I'm doing the show, the Harbor Square Theater. 24th, 25th, I'll be in New Jersey, just hanging out down there in Stone Harbor. 26th, I will be at the Empire Casino, and then late night at the Comedy Cellar in New York City, right on McDougal Street. 27th, I will be at the Village Underground, which is part of the Comedy Cellar, which is right there on West 3rd Street in the Village. Get your tickets for that. Those shows always sell out. Always. So New York, I don't come by often. I will be there. Get your tickets. 28th, I'll be at Valley Forge Casino in Valley Forge, PA. Somebody already invited me by their gym. I forget where it was. Please hit me up again, because when you hit me up like months out, I don't save the email. So if you hit me up again this week, I'll go, oh yeah, I gotta get over to that gym. And I do make my best effort to get out to you guys. Then I'm taking 2 weeks off for baby If to be born. That's, my wife and I are having a child. That's right. Number 2 coming out. Then I'm back on the road 18th through the 20th, Hyenas in Dallas, Texas. That will sell out for sure. So get your tickets. I forget where I'll be working out. Zanies in Chicago. I'm new there. That's the 25th, 26th, 27th, 28th. I don't know where I'm staying, where they're putting me up, but I will find you somebody there and be popping in. Funny Bone in Omaha. That is August 1st, 2nd, 3rd. But that's right before the games. Or, I mean, that's during the games. But the couple days before, I might be in Madison, trying to find a place to stay in Madison. Anybody got an idea? Hunter's having a hard time trying to find a place. It's tough. If you got anything good, I said we should get a tour bus and go. But anybody have any ideas? Let me know. I'm going to stop in probably the Tuesday and Wednesday before the games or during the games. And then, like I said, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, I'll be in Omaha, Nebraska. 8th, 9th, 10th, I will be in Wilmington, North Carolina. Okay. Then the 22nd, 23rd, 24th, I'll be in Boise, Idaho. 29th, 30th, 31st, Hyenas in Fort Worth, Texas. And then the 6th and 7th and 8th, I'll be in San Diego at La Jolla Comedy Club, Comedy Store. I forgot one big date. July 21st. Tickets are going on sale tomorrow. Tickets are going on sale. July 21st. That's a Sunday night, 8 p.m. at the Comedy Store in Hollywood. Get your tickets. That will sell out. And you will want your tickets to this because it's a great show. We do it all the time. Not all the time. We've done it once, and it was great. But anybody that was there will attest that it's an awesome show. I bring a lot of friends, some very famous comedians on. You never know who's going to pop in. But I think you'll like it. And who knows? We can all hang out afterwards on the bar and talk at the bar and talk about how we work out all the time. That's it. Let's get this show rolling. Okay. So, enjoy this episode with Kenny Kane, everyone. Kenny Kane. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Wadcast podcast. Every week I say it's a special episode. This week it is not. It's not special. And now, go ahead, do it.
The most uninspirational Wadcast podcast ever. Minus many players, Eddie If and the old guy, Kenny Kane.
Holy shit, do you hear that? That is my guest this week. He's not my co-host.
Nope.
I solely host this. I solo this. I am the Alex Hommel of podcasting. Wow. I'm here in static. I hold up here, Kenny. It's his first day First time at the rodeo.
But I don't have.
You don't have headphones? We're very low overhead here. We don't use machete. We use a little Zoom recorder.
This is a totally different setup. It's very modest, Eddie.
Yeah.
I've never classified you as a modest fellow, but this is a modest setup.
I'm into simplicity.
You may be turning a corner that I've not seen.
When my house almost burned down, I was sitting there praying it would, because I was like, I get to get rid of all my wife's shit. And I was like, the less shit that I have, the more free my life is. I swear to God, I think about what's funny is I can corroborate that as one of Eddie's friends, because I called him many times during those fires and I was like, how you doing? And then, very outwardly on the phone, he'd be saying, "Oh, this is. I'm really concerned," and be like, "It'd be so great if it burned down. It'd be so good for me." that was like the 3 or so conversations we had. She saved so much shit, and then she had me put in a storage facility, and I had to figure out how to redirect the fire to the storage facility. I travel now with a suitcase. Like, I almost just want to fly for a week somewhere with a backpack. Like, I want to wear the same clothes every day. I wish there was a way of washing them.
Dude, it's a modern dad. It's just lugging shit. Your job is to lug shit. You're a mule.
Yeah.
Fathers
I'm a Sherpa.
Mules. I'm a Sherpa. You just lug shit around.
And I hate being a Sherpa.
Yeah. I think the domestication of men, I think a lot of people really, that's the one, it's one of the things that really chaps fellas.
I had 4 fucking things at Whole Foods today. I had a 12-pack of sparkling water. I forget what the other 3 things are. 2 smoothies and something else. And my daughter goes, "Dad, pick me up."
Right, of course.
And I was like, okay, let's just figure out how this is going to be done. That's why when they talk about functional fitness, they never talk about they should just run down 400 meters. We're going to have a stack of weights that you're going to have to figure out how you're going to pick them up.
An irrational moving 45-pound kettlebell.
Yeah.
Can turn on a dime.
One of them you're going to have to put in your teeth.
Yeah. And you've got breakables.
And the one thing, if it falls, it dies. That's functional. The way we do it is really dysfunctional. It's this, hey, look at, if you've ever climb a chain link fence with a child on your back, that's real functional fitness.
I had a moment last week where all I wanted to do was watch it was game 6 of the NBA Finals, and I literally just wanted to watch the last 5 minutes.
That's all I watched.
And
I watched a minute.
Just getting into the house with all 3 kids and 2 of them squirming and one of them yelping, and my wife comes and she's like, how much time is left in the game? I'm like, 2 minutes and 36 seconds. I just need to watch the game.
Yeah, but 2 minutes and 36 seconds in the NBA turns into an hour and a half.
Well, I did explain that as well.
Yeah.
But I did want that time. I didn't get it.
I was just thinking about that on the way here, about doing a good show, and I've got 2 other things to do tonight, and being present and trying to do them all well. And the only way to do them well is to be present doing them and be in the moment, which I never am. And I'm like, how do I fucking stop thinking about everything else I have to do? And all I was thinking about today is all the things I didn't do. I was supposed to work out today. I was supposed to surf today. And all I did was hang out with my kid all day.
Right.
She consumed me.
It's a paradox, man. It pulls you in different directions at all times, because to be a good parent, you need to be present a lot. And then at the same time, to be a good human, you need to take care of yourself. And those things are...
I'm convinced that if you want to be excellent at something, you have to give up everything else. If you're Tiger Woods or Lance Armstrong or one of these guys that achieved greatness, Mike Tyson, anything, then everything else in your life falls apart. And if you look at them, it did. Everything else did fall apart.
One of the things we have a life diagnostic that we use with a lot of the clients that we have. We have a lot of high performers that come to this gym, executives and stuff. And one of the things that we do is we just put on a piece of paper, go, look, you've got people in your life, you've got your work, you've got your workout, and you've got your recovery. Now, those are 4 different corners of your existence. And those are constantly pulling on each other in different amplitudes. And if you're not conscious of that, one of them will spin you out. Now, and what we do especially for some of our executive training, we do is we focus on for right now, the next 3 months, where you're going to allocate your attentional resources, because most people's habits, I don't find, are sustainable. They think that the one thing that gets them to a certain sort of level in life, whatever it may be, is typically not the thing that helps them with the next challenge that comes their way. And so your adaptive capacity becomes a real issue. And so for the high performers that we work with, we see that routinely. Like they crush, let's say it's work. But the downside is other things start to fall apart.
Sure.
And so what the question then becomes is, how do you keep this thing in balance? And by the way, it's probably not best to just assume that there should be balance. Balance is something that you can seasonalize, really. Like, so if you chunk things down 3 months, 6 months, or whatever big life trajectories, like you've got a baby coming, right? So I know that you're already spun as is. You've got another one. And I would say, okay, like you're good. Some of your attentional resources are going to have to go into the family bucket, yet you're getting pulled in the career direction. And so these things are they're cross tensions.
Sure.
And so, but if you're aware, then you go, for the next 9 months, I'm going to really focus on Lauren, on Cruz. Have you announced to the audience the name of your son?
I don't want to ever say that name again.
Okay.
That's the name of my child, Cruz Ift. No, I mean, I had no say in it. I didn't get to choose. It was, my wife gave my daughter a list of names, and my 4-year-old.
Izzy chose?
Well, first she said she wanted to call it Chaos. And we were like, we cannot name a child
like a Mortal
Chaos.
Kombat character?
Yeah. I don't know. She goes to this school in Malibu that all the kids are named like Condor, Bullet, Zeppelin.
Right.
You know, every name is like, and we just become the cliche up there. So we're
my name is Universe Turmeric.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I'm like, where's Joe and Frank and Charlie?
Totally.
So,
but the point is to all of this is that, you know, to your point, like, I don't know if you necessarily have to give up everything. You give up everything if you're not aware of what you're doing. If you're aware of what you're doing, then it becomes an act of consciousness. And that's a higher level sort of thing for people to operationalize.
Well, for a long period of my life, I was completely career focused, and I just would not focus on any. I was like, workout, what's that?
Yeah.
Relationships, who needs it?
Yep.
Family doesn't exist.
Yep.
And I was very happy with pursuing that at that point in my life, because I figured, you only have a window. It's like being an athlete. You gotta you gotta put it down. You can't play shitty in college and think you're going to go to the pros.
Right.
You've got to play well in the beginning so that you can eventually make it to the pro. So I was like, okay, eventually I'll get to a point where I can coast a little, and that's where it's been for years, where it's like, coast, take care of the family, then get intense, work on the career for a bit, then coast, because it's hard to I've never been one of those guys that can do, I'm not multitasking. And, and I remember when you're in high school and you have 7 classes and you've got homework I'm like, oh fuck, I'll do one of them well. Right. There's going to be 6 classes that I fail and I'll get 1 good grade.
I've been studying this a lot lately, like this whole idea of this concept of the attention economy. And I've gone on this sort of binge of research because I'm about to publish an article on social media and how I think the entirety of the fitness industry should actually get off of it, for very robust reasons that include primatology, neurobiology, clinical psychology, psychiatry, everything that we're starting to understand of what it does to increase anxiety, depression, social isolationism, pathological narcissism. But all of that is because, we're living in a time where we're asking ourselves to routinely give more things more attention that may or may not warrant our attention in the first place. The downside about that is that our attention is actually a limited resource. We don't have attention to give all day. Chronobiologists are starting to help us understand this a little bit more, but most people have about 3 or 4 hours per day where they can focus on something meaningfully. Now, if you look at the allocation of the modern person's time, we're over extracted. So there's, anywhere from 12 to 16 hours of attentional demand. And then we're routinely giving shit that doesn't warrant our attention to begin with. Things that are, in my view, somewhat frivolous, like socials in particular. Extra time. And the math on it is 2 hours a day for the average human going to one of 4 major platforms. And to me, that's like, you got, 2.5 billion people a day giving up 2 hours a day when you've really only got 3 or 4 where you can focus on anything.
Right.
Why the hell would you,
but isn't the argument that they're not focusing, that they're scrolling aimlessly on those platforms?
Well, so there's a lot that's happening in that question, and I'll try to answer very simply and just say the responses that we get for socials are designed to go to the base of the brainstem, which only interprets things as, look, is this thing going to make me thrive or survive? Some of the fight, flight, freeze sort of responses. So that's why there's a sense of urgency when we look at these things. And that's why the addictive nature of them is so strong, because the base of the brainstem doesn't operate like the hippocampus does. So information, for us to make good decisions as humans, we got to get past like the instinctual impulsive side, get to the hippocampus where context actually exists, where you can take some of the information that's actually that you're looking at as you're scrolling and go, okay, let me extend this out. Let me give this, the stream of information, some context here, and kind of like extend it out and give it some human meaning to it. And then from there, then you go to the prefrontal cortex, which is part of the brain that says, this is what I do with my time. This is what I don't do with my time. This is what I do with my life. This is what I don't do with my life. But the prefrontal cortex doesn't operate well when it's stressed or exhausted. And so the problem is that in the process of doing this, if you give something 2 hours a day, yet you're not really paying, and this is where it gets fucked up. We're not really paying that much attention. Yet our nervous system doesn't know that. So by the time we get to the decisions that are more meaningful in our life, we've already given up 2 hours. And most people say, I don't spend 2 hours. I'm like, really? Set up moment. Set up rescue time. Set up Freedom app on your, any of those.
Even battery. Just look at your battery.
Now they know. And so now let's just take a look at that and go, where's our time actually going? Okay. And if we're allocating that to those things, that is depleting the very limited resource that all of us have. Now, it's different for everybody. And some people would like to egotistically think that they're superheroes and go, no, I got 12 hours a day. And having worked with some of the most elite humans in the world in a variety of industries and sports, the consequence to that is, like you were kind of framing a little while ago, there is a consequence to that. Now the question then becomes is like, as a human, are you willing to dedicate all your attentional resources to things that may or may not matter? And if they really matter to you, then other things may be expended. And so that's the question. Like it's an opportunity cost of where your time, attention, and energy goes.
It's so new and my iPhone's 10 years old and all these social media platforms are relatively new. And for a while, everybody was just all over them. And all of a sudden, then the backlash started. And now it's all you hear is everybody hates it. Everybody hates it. But it's a necessary evil. It's a necessary evil.
When is this?
This will
when
be
is it airing?
Tomorrow.
Oh, okay. Because I'm about a week away from giving a report on my podcast, Body Knowledge, and then also publishing this article. It's a 12,000 word article, so I'm about a week or two out from publishing that on Body Knowledge and the Oak Park website, which we can go into later. But it's really
so you've got. We've been talking about this for a while on the show about, and it being a big part. And people always say to me, "Well, you have to be on it because it's." Part of your business. If I could eliminate it tomorrow, like if you said to me, hey, it's not going to affect your business at all, I'd delete every single one of them.
So I love this question and I love this idea. Like, so as I hear that, and this is the point of the article that I'm about to publish, because the article is to coaches specifically. And so for people that are specifically in the fitness, health, or wellness industries. And we know unequivocally that people spending time on these platforms is toxic to fitness, health, and wellness, period, because it destroys cognitive capacity, attentional resources, time, energy, and which are the very requisite things needed to make somebody fit, healthy, or well. So when somebody says, hey, this is a necessary evil, I would say, I don't know if it's necessary, A, and B, I would say that it's closer to evil if you can actually understand what the platforms are doing in real time for the gross population. And if you can assume that your intent is not greater than the platform itself. People egotistically have a hard time hearing those words that I'm saying, because nobody that is listening to this podcast, gym owners, coaches, people who love CrossFit, functional fitness, whatever, are not going, oh yeah, I'm deliberately posting to make people worse. Everybody's posting, here's a PR, this is me celebrating somebody who did something really well in the gym, we're just promoting something that's good. And I'm like, right, but that's completely dismissing the major point that it's not healthy for humans in the first place. And if our job is to make people
healthy,
better, then we have to logically, with our prefrontal cortex, not our hippocampus, or excuse me, not the base of the brainstem, just answering the question emotionally. Like, Kenny, you're wrong. We have to do it. It's like, no, you know what that is? That's an impulse that has been trained into us and a narrative that we've bought. And there's a huge distinction, in my view, between impulsiveness and intention. And so what's better for somebody's fitness, health, or wellness? Impulsiveness or intention? You're growing up in front of my eyes. You're coming in here talking about things that I wish that you were talking about 15 years ago when you and I met. I would like to live more intentionally. It's like, right. And be more present. And it's just like, as a friend, I know that you've had anxiety issues for as long as I've known you. And so I know that as a human being, like you're giving up your attention and energy to a lot of things that may or may not matter. You know, like I would say that, Lauren, your kids, your career, those are things that are very meaningful. Now, what's really interesting is that if we don't challenge these assumptions, we, meaning the people that are in this space, the people that are listening to the show, if people that are in comedy, even comedy, like I know that there was a certain era in comedy. This is explicitly one of the reasons why I left stand-up comedy. It's just, I saw the socials coming. I'm like, I want nothing to do with any of this. It's crazy because the reason I started stand-up comedy was because of the compelling difficulty that it represented. And you know, how hard is it to go up and make 300 people laugh? Mm-hmm. And you train it and you get good at it, but like that is so hard to do and interesting. What an interesting life. Mm-hmm. But then it started becoming about all these other things and taking on the responsibility of figuring out how to hack your comedy to fit into a platform. And really, we decontextualize your art. Your humanity as an artist is decontextualized, stripped down in these little 30-second, 10-second bite-sized chunks that, like, you're a headliner, Eddie. You work best with 45 minutes or an hour.
Sure. And where it's gone now, and I'm going to try to compare the two worlds and every kind of thing out there that people are pushing on social media. Anything from fitness to arts to sports to anything. And it goes on with professional sport. I hear it with, pro athletes or guys that are trying to get into colleges and play football, and, they've got to get a social media platform to get the colleges to look at them as athletes. Everybody using it as kind of their sales deck. It's everybody's sales deck of, look at me. This is why you want to buy me. We're all for sale now. We're all whores. Hey, this is my selling point. This is why you then buy into me. You buy more of me and I make more money. And it's where capitalism has gone in a really ugly, narcissistic way. So the way I see it is, like I said to you, my goal is to be present, do the right intention, which is write an amazing act, like work on my jokes, write really funny material, perform it really well, practice it well, so that when I go out every night, those people have a wonderful hour of their life and they walk out and say, I just, laughed for an hour. That's my goal. Anything else that comes of it is great and superfluous. But what's happened is everybody's going, you got to get bigger, you got to get better, you got to get booked, you got to get this, you have to stay relevant, you need heat. So you need to constantly create content, create more content. It's got to be up on every platform. You got to be on Twitch, you got to be on YouTube, you got to be on Twitter, you got to be on Instagram, you got to be on Facebook, you got to be on whatever you can be on it, and then take your bits. Like, the big thing is, if you're a comic, get a Netflix special. If you can't
can't get a Netflix special. What do? Oh, they're only giving out 20 a year. So only 20 out of 20,000 comedians are getting it. So what do you do if you're not one of those 20 guys? Well, then, hey, here's how you're going to do it. You're going to cut it up into bits, put it on Facebook in little chunks so everybody can get it. And then they'll start following you more, and they'll start following you, and then they'll come see you live. And it's like, wow, how about just going out and doing the best fucking show you can do? Right. And they're like, yeah, that's what somebody that doesn't achieve does. Real achievers are people that do their job, and then on top of their job, they do all this extra. And it's like, okay, if I do all that extra, I have no time for my family. I have no time for my friends. I have no time.
What are you giving up? And
I'm going to give up everything. And then unhappiness begins.
Yeah.
And so, I remember when Time Magazine named Dane Cook one of the top, top people, influential people in the world, because they said, he put his comedy on.
I remember that.
On all the
MySpace.
But even before MySpace, he was on what was the place where you stole music?
Oh, Napster. That's right.
Napster. He put his stuff on Napster and said, "Go ahead, take it.
Right.
Here's my album. Take it." And then he was on MySpace, and he added every single friend he could possibly have, and he talked to every single one of them. And in doing so, they said, this guy's changed comedy. And I was like, not for the better.
Yeah.
Like, it used to be like a job. You went out. So I feel the same about fitness, where these people are going out, and there's a bunch of charlatans out there that are doing their party tricks and look at me, look at what I lifted, or look how I did this trick, and you should want to trade with me and buy my program and blah, blah, blah. And that's how everybody's buying into it. The only positive I think I've seen of social media, the only positive thing is the progression. The progression is that when I started stand-up comedy, I'll do the fitness and stand-up. When I started stand-up comedy, I would watch on Evening at the Improv every week. Right. And I'd get to watch 4 comics.
Right.
And that's how I learned.
Yeah.
And then I'd go to a comedy club and watch the other 4 guys at the open mic or whatever night it was. And that was it. And that's how I learned to do it. Yep. Whereas now these kids can go on and watch countless, like endless hours of stand-up comedy and kind of figure out who they are, what they want to be, what's possible. And it's the same way with, I love extreme sports. People go on there and they go, oh, I see what we're capable of now. You can do a 360 tail whip like 12 times over and, 40 feet in the air. And I'm going to do that, or I'm going to do a kick flip, blah, 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 blah. And, people start going, oh, I need to push it further and do something more extreme to get attention, because that's the only way you can get attention. So we're pushing the boundaries. That also may not be good. I'm surprised we're not hearing like people are dropping dead left and right because their need for attention on social media, that they jumped a motorcycle over a cliff and died like Evel Knievel, in the Grand Canyon or whatever. You see it with CrossFit. Everybody was, look at the workouts, look at the way, like you look at the games when it started. If you showed me those workouts right now, I'd be like, and I'm not that, fit, but I'd be like, I think I could do that. I could do this whole thing. Totally. And you show me what they'll do this year, and I'll be like, I can't do
any of it.
Any of it.
Right.
Any of it.
Right.
I can't do one round up. They're in a whole other sphere. They've progressed for millions of different reasons. But social media has also done that, because they've showed you what they're capable of. And also guys go, oh my God, this guy did 4 workouts today. I got to do 4 workouts today. But
again, there's an assumption that the socials are the only technologies that can do that. And I think it's worth distinguishing what are favorable technologies and unfavorable technologies. And that's where we can kind of get away from sort of a Luddite's perspective, let's say, on what technology actually represents and what it represents for humanity. So one of the things that I'm very specific about in the article to be released is, and I follow Tristan Harris, who's actually a former student of mine, and Jaron Lanier, 2 tech sort of leaders that have left Silicon Valley to kind of basically throw the flag in. And both of them define, like, look, technology isn't the boogeyman. It's extractive technologies that we need to be concerned about. Technologies that intentionally route to the base of the brainstem and don't allow us to make a good intentional decision with our time, energy, and attention. And so,
give me an example.
Well, so the like bummer technologies that that Lanier sort of points out, and I don't really use Google, but I do use YouTube. So in the article I'm pointing to four things specifically. So I'm saying Facebook, Twitter, or Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube, because those are the ones that most coaches use. And so the article is a call to action to our fitness world. Like, let's relook at this assumption. Now, each of these technologies is extractive in nature and using surveillance capitalism as its sort of like fiduciary model, meaning that, and these are brilliant platforms. How good of all of these platforms do something so interesting. They look at what your behaviors are, and all four of them are based on Skinner's behavioral psychology, which everybody's aware of Pavlov's dog. So each of us has a slightly different dopamine drip. So they know, Eddie, when you go on that they don't know that you're anxious, Eddie, by your fundamental nature, and that's something that you're working on. But they do know that for your algorithm, it's more compelling to you to stay on, and by letting you know that so-and-so responded to something you mentioned with a 2-second response or 4-second response. And that is literally different for every human. And the algorithms are working so specifically on customized feeds for all the billions of people that are on it for that extraction of the valuation of the company, which is how long did the person spend on it and how much engagement, likes, did they give to something. And so all of it is being specifically customized to your behavior patterns. So it gets better and better at putting the stuff that keeps you more and more compelled to stay on there with a sense of urgency. So again, we're upregulating our nervous system unknowingly. So there's a cascade of things that are happening here, but this in and of itself helps the valuation of the company, and the company is very brilliant because they don't have to create content. Instead, they feed on you as a comedian, me as a coach, for our innate desire to stay relevant to other humans.
Yeah.
But the problem, here's where this is a problem for coaches, for comedians and artists and people that have scalable ideas. This is slightly different, but for coaches, human relationships are the fundamental ground zero of it all. And we as humans, if you look at Dunbar's work, you can't extend really past 150 people in a meaningful way. Yeah. So if you're trying to help people grow, there's a reason why most gyms have growing pains after 150 or 200, 225. That's the window where every gym I've ever known has their first like tweak. A couple coaches break off, 50 members leave, whatever happens, you know, and then another gym starts or something happens. But there's a reason. And it's fucking our biology.
Yeah. Did you read Sebastian Junger's Tribe?
Yeah, it's one of I have 5 tenets for our coaches. That's it's one of the 5 books. And for people that come into our Craftsman's Workshop, it's required reading for anybody that comes and does the 2-week apprenticeship program here. But, and it's why I base a lot of our work as a business and also the things that I teach other coaches is like, we can't assume that our capacity to human relate goes beyond that, because that hasn't been proven yet. And by the way, if we think egotistically that we can extend past that and that our 1,500, 3,000, 20,000 friends, whatever it is on any of these platforms are actually friends, that's a misalignment of the word. Now, again, to your question, like, okay, well, let's start to define some of this. Well, what is it? It's extractive in that they are deliberately using the combustible resource, time, energy, and attention to keep you on the platforms in ways that we cannot rationally decision make that well against. I've heard a million people go, they're just tools. They're just tools. And it's never felt right. Every time I've been on one, I'm like, on the inside, I don't feel well.
Yeah.
And now I understand why, because I've studied it so much. And I happen to know Tristan Harris personally, because he was
Who is Tristan Harris?
Tristan Harris is anybody, please go to humanetech.org, look up Tristan Harris. And if you don't know who he is, start to learn who he is. You can look up his TED Talks. You can see him on, unfortunately, YouTube, but you can also go to Vimeo, which is a video platform that I use now instead of YouTube, for example. There are, again, same sort of idea, but I would recommend that people to use video or Vimeo instead of YouTube to get to share, quote, share their ideas with the world. Because Vimeo has a different fiduciary relationship with the user, and it doesn't make the user the product. And that's what's happening on these platforms, is the user becomes the product. The product is the time, attention, and money, and you make the fucking content for everybody else.
Kind of like multi-level marketing.
This is the most brilliant multi-level marketing, and there's no reason why any one of these companies would change its shareholder relationship and flip it unless there's such public outcry or people actually start to listen to some common sense, like what I'm saying right now. This is common sense. For the good of humanity, if people start having this broader conversation and start getting off the platforms. I've been off completely for 9 months, and what I got back immediately was attentional resources from my kids. I was on for 42 minutes a day. Because I just did a study, like how much was I devoting to it? And you know me, I've always been like the most anti-social media person ever, and I was still 42 minutes a day.
Oh my God, if you saw what I'm on. And I don't even use it. Like I don't use it, but I find I do it out of like, I was never a TV watcher that much.
Right.
But I realized, it used to be, you said, people sit and watch TV.
Right.
They sit.
This is different than TV. It's so different than TV.
It's so different than TV, but no, like I don't watch TV anymore. Mm-hmm. I never turn my television on unless occasionally my wife and I will sit down and binge watch a series.
Right.
And then when we're done with it, it might be like 2 months before we start up another one, and we'll watch it for like a week straight or something.
Right.
But like we don't turn the news on. We don't turn anything on. But I've replaced that with just going on, I'm on my phone, I'm standing there, I'm bored, I'm like, I'll just see if anyone's done anything on Instagram, see what, and then, look at this, this guy's this show, and look at this, and then the next thing I know, I'm in it for 45 minutes, or, I haven't gotten my day started, or something hasn't started, and I got messages, on 17 different platforms coming in,
and if you're to ask anybody, when you wake up tomorrow, do you want to commit, just like the rest of humanity, 2 hours a day to these platforms? Is that in direct alignment with what you want out of your life? Because this is a short time we're here. And so nobody's answering yes to that, but somehow we've bought into this conversation. And again, I deeply challenge, I want anybody who's interested in this topic to please read the articles and listen to the body of knowledge as we release it, because one episode will be specifically about this, and I'll go into great detail about all of it. But
I'm not that bad. Today, 11% of my time on my phone was spent on Instagram.
Okay.
It goes photos 16%, messages 15%, Instagram 11%, Google 9%, mail 7%, and then news 4%, camera 4%, phone 3%.
Sure.
I mean, that's not that bad. But usually it's a lot. I forget where to go into the Apple thing where it tells me where I've gone. But there have been times when I look at it and I'm just disgusted with myself.
Yeah.
I'm like, ugh.
Right.
What did I? And I think about all the things, like I've created a bucket list of, 50 things I want to do before I'm 50 years old.
Let me just back you up for a second. Like, this is the habit of everybody, because you're speaking so real right now. People, your words were, when I'm bored, when I'm waiting in line, I'll go to look at it, and then and then something or whatever. So, and then there goes 45 minutes. Okay. And now again, my point is, we are a system of systems. On a primatological level, like we're primates, and we have our relatives that we like to be close to and also hate being close to. And we have our little tribes that we like to be with. And that requires a certain amount of energy. Now you've just given up while being bored, which is a necessary emotional, psychological thing to go through, because boredom is your natural. If you look at chronobiology, it's like part of it is a natural rest cycle for your fucking brain.
Oh yeah,
to rest. And the problem is
not just that, but it's where your creativity comes from. Also,
and now you're robbing yourself of writing better jokes, being a better dad, having a better workout. That time's gone, Eddie. Right. Every day.
So I had this argument when we had our first had Izzy. I said, everything I read said don't let them see a screen for 2 years. It inhibits the development of their brain. Also, don't. And even when she got past 2, I would say to my wife, would she let her have a screen or a TV for something? I said, you know what, don't. And she's like, well, but she's sitting there and she's bored. And I said, good. Let her be bored. Right. She'll be creative. Right. And this is where she's going to have to grow. We were bored. We were bored a lot.
Right.
And I made a joke about it recently. I go, when's the last time you heard somebody say, I'm bored?
Oh, totally.
You have no excuse to be bored because you have a phone that you can go into that has 170 billion things that you can do, that you can't be bored.
But we're humans and we need natural down regulatory bored. Some people will qualify the experience as bored. We need that, and we're not giving that to
So I've been
ourselves.
I wear a Whoop. Mm-hmm. And they're a sponsor of the show, and I talked to the owners of the company, and the guy started explaining everything to me. And I was like, oh my God, if there's ever been a person that needs to wear one of these things, it's me.
Yeah, totally.
And weirdly, the other night, because I thought, all I have is I sometimes wear a heart rate monitor. I can tell where I am when I'm exercising, and you know me, I redline the entire time. Mm-hmm. But years ago, I talked to, I think it was Kelly Starrett or somebody, and I said, hey, I'm having all these muscle fasciculations, blah, blah, blah. And he goes, you got to calm down. He goes, you might have a great heart.
Totally.
He's like, but you're going to end up like Bob.
Yeah.
From Biggest Loser. He goes, Bob Harper. He goes, if you're constantly redlining, you're going to crash.
Totally.
And he said, you're on stage. You get off stage. You can't sleep. You finally go to sleep at 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning. Yeah. He goes, you get up. You go work out. You see your friends. You're going. You're working. You do shows. He goes, that's all day long redlining. So getting to see how my heart rate is, watching the Whoop when I'm sleeping, when I'm down, how much sleep I need, how much I'm recovered, how much I'm not recovered, was great. So I was just able to do it when I used to wear a heart rate monitor when I would exercise, which I think everybody should do. Well, the Whoop the other night shows me an activity is registered. And I'm like, what? Like I was exercising.
Yeah.
And I'm like, holy shit. It just registered my stand-up set for 1 hour. Wow. It clicked me in like I was exercising.
100%.
And I saw my heart rate. I start the show at 150 beats per minute.
Wow.
150 beats. Yeah. I'm on stage.
Yeah.
And I'm like, my heart rate went up that much.
Yeah. And you're
like I'm running a 10-minute mile.
Totally.
And it stayed up for about 10 minutes of the show.
Yeah.
Then it came down for a while, and then it went back up towards the end of the hour.
Check drop.
And yeah, probably. and to me, I went, holy shit, I've been beating up my body more than I thought I was.
Right.
Like I'm not in recovery because I did a workout, then I did another workout. Right. Like my heart thought I was working out again.
Right.
And, so I have really started to pay serious attention to my sleep, and I've overestimated how much I was sleeping. I average, I'm lucky when I get for a week 6 hours a night. Right. Lucky.
Right.
And, it's hard when you have a travel night and you get like 2 or 3 hours.
Yeah, I get
and
it.
then you're not catching up sleep or whatever. But
these are the reasons. These are additional reasons why I left stand-up, like all of it.
Yeah, but it's a good reason to leave social media too, because it's preventing your sleep. Yeah. Have you read Robert Lustig's book, Hacking the American Mind?
No.
Oh, you'd love it.
Yeah.
It's all about the dopamine and serotonin.
Sure.
And it's funny when you break that down to people, because people are so uneducated, and I think we're just touching on this now, like people started talking about carbs and fat and proteins, 20 years ago.
Sure, right.
It's now we're talking dopamine and serotonin,
right,
as everybody thinks there's a drug for it. And it's it's so funny because I make fun of him so much and we talk about him on the show all the time, but Bobby.
Yeah.
Crazy Bobby.
Yeah.
Bobby had all the answers 20 years ago.
Right.
On everything.
Totally.
You know, like you go by Bobby's house and he's out in the backyard laying in the sun and you're like, go do some work. And he's like, nah, man. Nah, I need an hour of this.
Totally.
And you're like, why, Bob? And he's like, you need your vitamin D. You don't understand. You know, I just saw Bobby forever was telling me, take your shoes off, walk around in the ground without your shoes on. Why? And you need the minerals to absorb through your feet. And I'm like, that doesn't happen. I'm watching the news the other night. I was watching Good Morning America. They say to take your shoes off. And I'm like, geez, Bobby. Bobby has all the answers before anybody. Totally. Colostrum, bee pollen, you name it. Yeah. He's always.
I was with him a couple weeks ago. We went to the Neuroforce facility in Phoenix.
So did you get to go see the Bobby's hyperbaric chamber?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's. I mean, the conversation has been ongoing for some time. It's really cool to see it happening right now. It's really cool to see. But yeah, I mean, Bobby's been on it for a long, long time. And again, some of this goes back to like the practicality of it all. Like there's, you know, and just, I mean, as we talk about like the socials, as we talk about fitness, I mean, there's so many systems within systems that are tugging on each other, and trying to be aware of all these things is rather difficult. But, you know, a lot of it really does get chunked down to some basic things. Like, do you have the capacity to rest and recover? Do you have the capacity to train sometimes hard, sometimes easy, but move generally? You know what I mean? Like, do you have good people in your life, and do you have work that you enjoy? Well, and then all of that's encapsulated by spirituality if you're a spiritual thinking person. Like, and again, those are and I offer that to any coach or head coach that's out there, is like, what's a basic diagnostic for somebody when you're sitting down with them? Just sit down with somebody and put those 4 areas on a piece of paper and go, where are you putting your time and energy points? Because it's going to affect your physicality. We've got people who just want to, like, some people just don't know how to climb up the tree, as I say figuratively, and then some people who don't know how to come out of the tree. So people that go up the tree, it's like, get up the damn tree, like, push yourself. And other people are like, they only just want to stay redlining up in the tree. And it's just like, you got to come down, man. You come down and take a nap underneath the tree and get some vitamin D and get your, you know, bare feet in the dirt. You know what I mean? Just rest for a second. It's all good. But we're not biasing that in so many ways. Yet, if we frame it that simply, like, we bypass all the hacking, all the methodology, all that kind of stuff. And then the conversation starts to become a little bit more simple and more humane. And that's what, you know, we're really trying to do here at the gym and with the podcast, is just like, there's a level of practical humanity that we've gotten away from.
What's the podcast you're doing so that
Body Knowledge.
Okay.
Yeah. And so, it's one that I do with Andy Galpin, a professor of exercise physiology from Cal State Fullerton. Really incredible guy, but we're just about to release season 3 of it. And, you know, I'm going to have a special episode on the social piece that'll be a sister piece to the article, 3 articles that I've written, and we'll be releasing. Word.
Why'd you get all quiet there? That got creepy.
Well, you know what's really funny is that, like, I looked at you.
You couldn't believe I let you talk that much?
No.
Without interrupting?
No. What was funny is, knowing we've worked together professionally and for both podcasting and stand up, and I looked at you and I could tell that you were thinking in your head transition or segue, and I was just holding space for you to transition or segue.
Yeah, and I thought it'd be more fun to just leave some empty silence.
I'm totally cool with that too. Totally cool.
Just to mention too, to everyone out there who can't see you right now, Kenny is wearing tights.
It's pretty much a consistent every time I'm on the stand-up show.
No, you wear
when
you must wear them every day.
I don't, but I make sure that I wear them on the days that I'm going to see you.
I've started wearing them again. I wore them all through track in college, but I wear them now because I run in the woods. Mm-hmm. And
the scrapes and the scratches.
The ticks.
Yeah. Oh, and the ticks, yeah, totally.
The ticks are what's so creepy.
Yeah. They are creepy.
Ticks are I'm not afraid of sharks.
Right.
But I'm afraid of ticks.
Ticks will take you down, dude.
Ticks are fucking the end of the world.
My guess is more ticks. I'd like to see the comparison, but I feel like ticks have probably taken out more people than sharks.
Oh, by
mathematically.
far.
Yeah, if you just look
by
at
far. I don't know
humans.
about death though, but they say the most dangerous.
Well, if you get Lyme disease, I mean, there was a period where people, you know,
I don't know if
no
people
cure for that.
die from Lyme disease, but people die from malaria. So mosquitoes are the most dangerous thing in the world.
Yeah. Well, small little suckers.
I know. Can you imagine dying from
That's
that?
such a bummer.
What a terrible
from
way to
something
die.
that small.
Yep.
Just like, and yet a shark.
Yeah.
We're swimming out there all the time in the Pacific.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
big deal. Whatever.
But the mosquitoes are terrifying, but ticks are just scarier. And they say, like, I've been reading a lot about it because we've been getting them a lot. There's because of the fire and then
Yeah.
all the rain.
Yeah.
We have more than ever.
Yeah.
And you know, you can use the shit on your dogs so that they fight it off. And I hate using that stuff.
Yeah.
You can put Frontline or I would never give them the pills. There's a pill you can give your dog. But can you imagine like putting that shit on yourself? Like I'm going to put a chemical on me.
Yeah,
That's
right.
going to go seep into my skin. That is then going to kill the tick when it bites me. It's so
creepy.
so scary. But I do know a lot of people with Lyme's disease, or so-called Lyme's disease, because there are people that experience a lot of things and then they can't find traces of it in their body. But East Coast. People are like, hey, let's go for a trail. I love trail running now.
Yeah.
And they're like, let's go for a trail run. I'm like, no
so bizarre to
fucking
me.
way.
Yeah.
No fucking way. Not on the East Coast.
Yeah.
I step in the grass. I'm like, oh, no.
It's weird at Char's, Char's my wife and she's Swedish. They have an archipelago that we go to every summer when we take the boys there. And last summer, there's been some geese that have been flying in, and part of it is like what's happening in the ecosystem. And it's like typically there haven't been that many birds, but there's some of the birds are starting to bring over ticks, which is like not really part of that like northern hemisphere in this particular area. It's not really something that's had any history. But last summer, we're picking ticks off the boys in Sweden. It's like, well, this isn't really part of.
Sorry, Kenny. Gotta talk about something. Well, I mentioned it on the show already, but today's episode is brought to you by Whoop. If you're wondering what Whoop is, I'm wearing it right now. And it's a tool that is changing the way people track their fitness and optimizes their training. It's a wrist-worn heart rate monitor that pairs to an app on your phone and provides analytics and insights on recovery, strain, and sleep. I basically know now when my body's recovered or when I need rest. It's one of the best things I've ever done because we talk about it so much in this episode. You'll see why. But this can track workouts. It'll tell me when I've worked out. It'll tell me when I've slept. It'll tell me when I've slept enough or haven't slept enough, or it's a lot with the heart rate variability, and you find out a lot about yourself. I thought I was sleeping enough, not even close. And I've just been burning the candle at both ends, and I got to stop. It's not good for me. This way I know, I'll go, oh, should I work out? Well, why do it if it's going to be detrimental? So it keeps you from overtraining, and it's going to make you a lot healthier. So it's crazy. The science behind it's great. You get the Whoop strap, which is a heart rate monitor that measures your heart rate 100 times per second, 24 hours, 7 days a week. And you can charge it while you're wearing it, which is really, really interesting, because it just has this little cover that goes over it, and there's no wire attached then. And you're like, how's that work? It's like a little battery pack that goes on it. You can even wear it during the day. It just looks like a watch. Nobody knows. And it's just going to tell your sleep quality and your heart rate variability. I always have trouble saying that word. Your heart rate variability and your sleep quality, and you're going to get a score. And you look at that score, and then it's going to tell you your strain for the day. And it's so much data that you look into, and it's changing the way I'm working out. So you're going to look at the app on your phone, and it's going to help you with your optimum time to train. It's going to tell you, how strenuous your day was. And it's got a built-in sleep coach that looks at the user's day and you, the user, and tells you how much you've slept and what you need. Everything from your REM sleep to your SWS sleep. And, it's great. So check it out. It connects it connects to your Bluetooth, and on your phone. And if you're not wearing one of these, I'm not lying. If you're not wearing one of these right now, you're out of your mind, because if you're a listener to this show and you've heard the stuff we've been discussing for like the last, year, this is the answer. So, they've got a new upgrade, 3.0, and, a whole new suite of, features. You get lost out there in it. Like, you'll just find out it's so interesting what you're going to find out and see about yourself. So, they got a good offer for us. How about this? $30 off for Wadcast listeners. That's $30. So go to whoop.com. That's Whoop. There it is. Whoop. See what I did? WHOOP.com. Whoop.com. Use the code WODCAST. Gotcha? WODCAST. WODCAST. You're going to get $30 off a 12 or 18 month membership. So go to Whoop right now. It's the world's most powerful fitness membership. Get on it. Sorry to interrupt, guys, but I just wanted to talk to you about one of our sponsors. I'm constantly worried about my nutrition. I'm a nutrition geek. I get mad at myself when I eat shitty food, and I do it because I don't have good food around sometimes. Well, I found a way to always keep good food around, and that's meal planning. Basically, I'm not going to plan my meals. I'm not going to cook my meals. I'm not going to make them. So that's why I have Territory Foods do it for me. How about that? I've been looking around for a meal delivery company, and I found the one that I like the best. So, Territory, where is my mouth today? Territory Foods, meals are crafted by local LA chefs in small batches in their own kitchens. And they're nutrient dense. They arrive ready to eat, which means no shopping, no chopping, no cooking, no cleaning. They prepare all their meals fresh from seasonal, whole, never frozen ingredients for optimal freshness. Okay? There's convenience at every turn. Your meals are going to be delivered to your door or a nearby pickup location in the neighborhood twice a week. Okay? These guys are the best, and they believe nutrition is personal, and they need to, make everyone feel good. So their menus are built to support a wide variety of dietary preferences. You can have vegan, you can have keto, you can have Whole30, and everywhere in between, all along the nutritional spectrum. So their meals start from an anti-inflammatory foundation. No gluten, no dairy, no refined sugars. Pricing varies on meal size. How about that? So like you can pick the size that you want, pick the quantity you want, and delivery frequency that you want. So the meals start around $10 each with free delivery to a convenient neighborhood pickup spot, or $7.95 for home delivery. So it's $10 each without, if you send it to a place, or you can have it home delivered, $7.95 extra. So go to territoryfoods.com. That's territory. You know how to spell that. Territoryfoods.com. Use the code WODCAST30. That code is WODCAST30. You're going to get $30 off your first order in any of the 4 locations. So $30 off, WODCAST30, Territory Foods. Do it now. Thank me later. Territoryfoods.com. Sorry to interrupt the show, but I know a lot of you out there think you're manly men, right? Well, if you really are that manly like I am, you're going to get a hold of some Duke Cannon. And I mean Duke Cannon. How about that name? Duke Cannon. That's like the most manly name. That's like Thor Kane. That's Kenny's son. Thor Kane. Well, this is Duke Cannon. Duke Cannon is, it's awesome. That's all I can say. It's just awesome. If you need to buy a gift for someone, go to Duke Cannon. Go to DukeCannon.com right now. Just do it. And what you're going to buy? You're going to buy all kinds of cool stuff for men. That's right. Men or women. I think you could buy this for women too. but they got soap. They got a big ass bar of soap, and they've got all kinds of cool stuff. They got a big ass brick of soap. It's like a big, it looks like a big rough cut brick style soap. And, it's the same kind of stuff the GIs used during the Korean War. I mean, these were men that just went out and like fought and were in the jungles, and they came back in and they just took this big ass brick of soap and cleaned themselves. And, they got news anchor pomade. You know, you want to put stuff, you want to look like me and have really cool looking hair. This is a perfect blend of medium hold. It's got a matte finish and a sandalwood scent. Who doesn't love sandalwood? And they get the best damn beard wash. That's what it's called, the best damn beard wash, because it is. It's the best damn beard wash. And they have superior grade shaving cream. It's a barbershop grade formula for men of higher taste, not for clowns. You got to be a man to do this. And how about this? You like cologne? You like to smell good? You come out of the gym, you smell like crap, and then you go, oh, you take a shower and you want to smell really good? Here's a foolproof way. Smell good on the go. Get their solid cologne. And it's TSA friendly. Doesn't make you smell like you were attacked by the mall perfume lady. I don't know what's TSA friendly, but I guess it's small enough. Maybe. You can like take it on your carry-on. How about that? Get this, you know, if you're using Duke Cannon's big ass brick of soap or the premium hair goods or the, you know, any of this stuff with a beard or shaving goods, you're going to love it. It's a patriotic way. They give back to the troops. How about that? They're committed to giving back to the men and women serving our country. You know, a portion of the proceeds goes directly to supporting veterans. So you want to buy a good gift for somebody, take care of yourself, look good, whatever it is, you get yourself some Duke Cannon. Go right now to DukeCannon.com and get yourself 15% off your first order with the promo code WODCAST. And they got free shipping on orders over $35. So check them out. Duke Cannon, DukeCannon.com. Duke Cannon. Let me do that one more time. DukeCannon.com. Right now. 15% off. Check it out. Use that WODCAST promo code.
But the ticks there, like I know the West Coast, we don't have Lyme's disease, they say, but I've seen, most of the deer. Most of the deer ticks don't have Lyme's, but there are some, and I'm like, oh, fuck, I gotta worry about this shit now. Yeah. My daughter was petting a caterpillar the other day, and I'm like, I love that she plays with every kind of animal. Right. We had to bury a lizard the other day that we found dead that she made me have a funeral for. She just loves animals so much, and I love that. I love that, and I'll cultivate it any way I can. She wants to be a vet when she's older. She cares so much about animals, and I see her petting a caterpillar, and I'm like, yeah, when I was a kid, I played with every animal too and didn't worry and blah, blah, blah. I Google caterpillar and it's like, well, some of them, the spines can get into your skin and it's like a sea urchin. And
oh, God.
She stepped on a sea urchin when we were in Australia and it was a nightmare. But there's so much of like, you got to let them do it.
Yeah.
You got to let them go through it.
Totally.
But you also don't want them to die.
Yeah.
And where I live with the rattlesnake, I quiz her every time we go hiking. What do we do if we see a mountain lion?
Yeah.
What do we do if we see a rattlesnake?
Yeah, she's got to know.
What do we do? What are we doing?
Yeah.
And it's almost like, it's funny. You talk about my anxiety. I'm pretty good about it. Like I don't have, probably about 7 years ago or whatever, I had panic attacks and I haven't had them in years.
Right.
And I was able to get control of it myself. And I know there are a lot of people that aren't. And if anyone wants help with it, I'll help you. Reach out to me. I know ways to deal with it, and I know what I did to stop it myself. But one of the things, I was talking to my friend who is a therapist that I just talked to because we're friends, and she was mentioning that I'm high functioning. She's like, and I was like, I took that as I'm really intelligent. She's like, no, you're not really smart. She's like, you're high functioning. You're functioning at a level like constantly functioning, and you have a lot of knowledge because you're reading everything and then you're taking that material in. Doesn't make you smart. It makes you full of knowledge that also can be a detriment to you.
Sure.
Because I know what can happen to me.
Yeah, it's different than wisdom.
Yeah. So I can go, you can say, hey, do this workout. And I have so much knowledge that I know, oh, that could cause an impingement, that could cause a this, that could cause a that then the next thing I know, 4 days from now when I'm trying to do this workout, this isn't going to happen. So why would I do that?
Yeah.
And so I just
spin. Spin.
I go, it is a spiral, and it's, I catastrophize.
Sure.
And I do it
which is very human. I mean,
but it's almost like ignorance is bliss.
Yeah.
You know, if you're just fucking dumb.
I like chocolate.
Yeah. Hey, go run 68 miles, Eddie. Yep. See you at the end.
Got it.
Whereas I'm going, if anything happens to my feet at mile 10, I'm fucked for the rest, and I've got to have these kind of socks, and I've got to put this on, you know.
Curse of knowledge, yeah.
Yeah, and it is. And it's, if you look at my phone, and when I go to a workout now, I've got my Whoop on, I've got my heart rate monitor, I'm checking this, I'm checking that, and I think it's because I'm in the second half, and I'm going, oh, now it's time to play conservatively.
Yeah.
You know, it's
a longer game.
Yeah.
You got to kind of switch the scope a little bit.
Yeah.
Like it's not, driving to the hoop every time.
Yeah. I had James Fitzgerald on the show, and he made a really good point. He said, where do you want to be when you're 90?
Right.
He goes, let's reverse engineer from there.
Totally.
And he goes, is what you're doing now, do you think it's going to get you there? And I was like, no fucking way. And he's like, then you need to switch your programming right now.
Totally.
And it's I've never felt better, to be honest, with the shape I'm in.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
I'm not as strong.
Recording, yeah.
I'm not as strong. I'm not as fit, maybe, but I'm healthier.
Right.
I'm happier. I'm healthier.
Yeah, totally.
I'm never sore. Oh, no, I wouldn't say never sore, but my soreness lasts for a day. Normal soreness.
Right. Not 6 days of
no. And I recover, and if I'm not recovered, I wait till I'm recovered, and I change. I'll look at a workout and I'll go, you know what, this isn't going to be good because I'm still messed up in my shoulders. I'm going to have to pull something out and put something else in, and there's a lot of that going on to just make sure I'm, not injured. I heard Laird, who I know you work with, on Joe Rogan the other day, and he was talking about, Laird's a monster, and he's like can do anything and everything, but he was saying he's not the best at anything, but he figures if he can last the longest by attrition, he's the winner. And that's how I am. I'm like, I go to CrossFit gyms now, and being as old as I am, I look around, I'm like, fuck all of you. I'm older than all of you. Right. And you can judge me and be like, I'm beating you. Yeah. But let's see you in 20 years.
Dude, look, I'm really hoping that the CrossFit community really starts to embrace the health aspects of this versus the performance aspects. And
that's what I wanted to get in with you about. I wanted to talk to you all about that because you were there that night. You saw Glassman speak when I was there, Pepperdine. And he's all into health. Yep. You've got all the games people thinking he's kind of against them now.
Sure.
And, I'm talking to top level CrossFitters that are thinking that they've been bastardized. Sure. And that he doesn't want anything to do with them. And, there's all these theories. Is he doing it for the money reasons because the money's in, the masses and not the tip of the spear? Right. Is he doing it because the tip of the spear had a bad effect? Is he doing it because he and Castro have clashed? What is the reason behind it, and where is it going? Yeah. And it's really, really chaotic times.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. This is bundled into so many things.
When we started this podcast, you were on the very first episode ever. Yep. All the shit we said that would happen has happened.
Sure.
And I was joking. You said, what are we going to talk about? And I go, how right I am about everything.
Which is just a classic response.
But I didn't, my predictions, and I look at guys who know coaching and know CrossFit and know fitness, and I'm like, I'm an idiot. They all know more than me. Mm-hmm. But theoretically, or not theoretically, but my theories of how it was going to evolve were all right on. And I don't want to, I'm not here to go, I told you so.
Yeah. It's funny to think about those first episodes of the show. I mean, and that's right when I was starting with this idea of context to undulate training just as a training modality, that it couldn't be 100% every day, that we needed to look at it a little bit different, borrow from strength and conditioning, borrow from periodization, which were bastardized in the early journals of CrossFit. But, and ironically, the one thing that supported like high level athletes was periodized approaches. So it's like, what's really interesting, if you look at like a broader history than just the history of CrossFit, if you just look at, if you go back a couple hundred years to how did all this exercise physiology start? Started in Sweden, basically, at GIH. And
what's GIH?
It's the exercise physiology not university, but institute.
Okay.
What they started to do in the early 1800s, I think it was 1812, what they started to do is it was like the first treadmills, and realized, oh, when people exercise, the heart rate goes up. Mm-hmm. Then they started realizing, we need to prepare people for battle. We need to teach younger people how to move in their bodies. So it's like there's a physical education, there's like a military aspect of this, and then there's a health aspect. So they, right away, just think about that, like, okay, physical education, preparing for war, and just movement from, like, these are the corners that have been with us for the last couple hundred years.
Sure.
So then, you know, the early, and I'll truncate the history of the whole thing and get us to this interesting point in our fitness history right now, is those studies became really critical 100+ years later for the Harvard Fatigue Lab, which was at that point like one of the studies that they were doing for the world wars were, how long can we keep somebody on a bike or a treadmill and just, you know, excuse any kind of hydration or food? What can a human survive in complete exhaustion with? And so what you get from that is physiological study that understands first of all, like monostructural conditioning and what humans are capable of. So, and that's what they were doing in the most extreme ways. Concurrently, one of the top exercise physiologists in the world was heavily influenced by that. He was, I'm forgetting what university he was at, but he was given a talk at his university, and the guy who started York Barbell showed up to his talk with some jacked dudes. And the dude from York Barbell was a little bit of a kook, and he wound up doing supplements and basically putting people on horse steroids back in the 50s. He was like crazy stuff. But one of his disciples was Joe Weider. Mm-hmm. Joe Weider's disciple, Arnold Schwarzenegger. This all interrelates to now, and it becomes really interesting. So all these cardiovascular studies create a gym experience. So it creates the market, which is, hey, you got to keep your ticker healthy for you to feel healthy. And here's all the studies. But the studies were like monostructural stuff, and it was just based on a handful of things, not like mixed modality training with multiple variables and contingencies, because you can't really test that. Some of the advanced technologies have a hard time understanding what's actually happening when you're going from a jump rope to a thruster to a snatch to a run and then back and forth between all of those. But all the physiological understanding came from that. VO2 max, all those kind of like critical things of our current understanding. So now you put that into the market, and then the market starts to like manifest. And so you've got Weider, the York people creating Weider and Schwarzenegger. They're starting to get away from functional movements, which were the thing of basically from the late 1800s to the 1940s. Like, you got to move in full ranges of motion. Mm-hmm. Weider and Arnold said, yeah, but if you just if you just do single joint movements, you can kind of grow some muscle. And then you got into this hypertrophy sort of conversation. And so what happens when science meets the market is a bastard child every time.
Sure.
And so you get the scientists going, it's pure, this is what it is. And you got somebody in the market going, yeah, but people like this.
Yeah.
And so you mutate these things. And then let's look at how the gyms got designed. The gyms got designed, there's a cardio section, and then here is basically a limited range of motion exercise place to go do your curls and leg extensions and whatever. And so that was the fitness market. And that was largely created by a combination of things that were started a couple hundred years ago in Sweden, moved all the way to the United States, Harvard Fatigue Lab. And I'm really truncating history here.
Sure.
But we get there. Now you come over and you kick Glassman into this, and there's a couple others too that had a lot to do with this whole functional fitness. Going, what about these like big ranges of movement that really do like work all the full capacity of a human in a very functional way, in a very broadly capable way, and so he comes along and says, well, let's like, rather than doing your cardio section, and he's a great simplifier, very elegant way of kind of doing it. And then the downside of like what he created was this psyche that followed that just got so unintentionally addicted to the performance aspect of it, which was in many ways a partial value system to the original CrossFit, which is truly about health. But then we got, well, what's most measurable? And then who's better on the most measurable things? And that just, again, talking about our impulsiveness as humans, why would we not be interested in pushing it? We're fucking humans.
Yeah.
Like, that is such a human thing to do. The downside about how that got played out in the market is for gym owners like myself and thousands of others to kind of figure out, do we support the competitive piece or do we support more of the health piece? Because it was unfortunately somewhat binary. It was like, 8 years ago when I created Context, it was like, it felt like a binary moment of time. Like, we need to be able to undulate our psychology with our physicality daily. Some days we go hard, some days we go a little easier. Hey, that's kind of worked out broadly for people for a long time. Now, getting that to be valuable to people, getting that to be interesting to people, getting that to be effective people, those are all like challenging pieces. But as the teens happened and the explosion of the competitive aspect,
wasn't just the competitive though. Remember the whole concept when this started about if you are, say, a fireman and you have got to climb up a skyscraper one day, you might have a fire the next day and you've got to do the same thing again.
Which is, and Nate, look, Glassman has some incredible concepts and ideas. And one of them is like, you need to be prepared for a broad set of contingencies at any point. And by the way, tough if you're sore, because the next day you might have to do something sore. And which gets me into like fragility, anti-fragility, robustness, the role of suffering, and all these other, like, that's a whole nother sort of quadrant conversation where those things tug on each other for the psychology of humans, what's practical in the market, and what actually works physiologically. Those are extremely distinct corners of a big conversation. And it takes a lot for somebody to understand, like, wow, that's a very complex sort of thing. But the competitive aspect is a natural undertow to kind of pull people's focus and to shine light on, like, this is what humans are capable of. But while we're shining light on that, we're also losing sight of, but this is meant for people, everyday people, really. And it is meant for a firefighter. It is meant for somebody who's in the armed forces. It can be meant for anybody. And we just so easily lost sight of all of that by getting swept into this, shifting of focus, which is very natural. I mean, it's compelling. I mean, these amazing people doing amazing things, especially if you have any context for it. Like, they do what? Like, you open the show with going, I couldn't do one thing that any of these guys are doing for multiple days on end.
No, it's ridiculous.
So, and yet at the start, like, you look back at the original workouts, like, I could probably do that, or some of that, mostly, for sure. And so, again, like, a credit to the thing itself, but also, like, I think it's helpful for anybody who's a leader in this situation to kind of like reflect on all of this. And if we look at the market right now, there's this interesting thing happening because, CrossFit really did a great job, intentionally and unintentionally, of making the strength and conditioning world, or the linear periodized world, the bastards. Like, these guys, it's just so, like, it's very specific, it's very linear, it's very boring. It's you do one exercise, you break, then you do the next exercise and you break. And the upside to all of that is that, and in so doing, you develop the capacity to develop neurobiologically. You develop the capacity to have a practice mentality of actually learning something in a real way over time, not just like I want it now. And we force fed, and I'm talking broad strokes, our natural desire to want it all right now. And I'm going to do CrossFit, I'm going to do everything, and it's going to be really good, I'm going to be great at everything. It's like, man, these things, all of it takes a long time to develop. It just does. And the sooner that we can wrap our head around that reality, the more that we can make it more practical.
Well, I think that it's in a weird place right now. I think that he's going in the right direction. My problem is too little, too late.
Oh yeah, I think a lot of people feel that way.
And I just see a lot of unfortunate stuff happening to gyms, to
oh yeah, I mean
CrossFit
we're getting crushed. Like I had a thing recently where I realized, like, and I can't go into the specifics, but I'll just say this very plainly, like a big municipality has positioned CrossFit in certain areas not permitted, and so we're now getting
that's happening all over the place.
Yeah, and so that's a bummer when you own an affiliate that's been open for 15 years, and you're like, oh, like it's for me to actually want to operate my business, which I love. I'm getting a municipal antagonism against that, like that's specific to CrossFit. And ironically, and I have to be very careful here, the municipality is concerned about like the usage of equipment, and technically CrossFit doesn't even, you could do CrossFit without ever using equipment.
Yeah.
But it's categorized that way. So the point is that somebody in making a law had it out for us.
Sure.
As an owner of one of the 10 oldest affiliates on the fucking planet, it really bums me out.
Sure.
Like, it's one thing for people to disarm people when they go, well, you're going to get killed. It's like, no, we got people that have been doing this at our gym for 15 years.
Yeah. It's
really, I mean, like, because now the unintentional positioning is me with something that I love against a reality that is extremely antagonistic.
Yeah, there's so many things we could dip into with but it's like anything else. No matter where you are in any business, times change, you have new challenges all the time. Right now, there is that. I hear that a lot of gyms are getting closed over noise.
Right.
And it's like, well, where were they 10 years ago?
Or they said, why isn't Soul Cycle that's like 60 decibels louder? Where was this problem 10 years ago? Why is the problem coming now? No. So who knows where it's coming from? And if you could play a conspiracy theorist and think, hey, maybe Coca-Cola has gotten into, this war. When you get political and you get big, things do happen. Couple of those. Look, CrossFit found out Coke on a couple things, and it doesn't look good.
No. And I mean, when you pick a fight with a
real big dog,
know that dog has friends everywhere and resources, and who knows how far that's trickling down. That's trickling down. I mean, when you're that big of a company, that big of a monstrous global entity,
right?
You don't think you have lobbyists in every possible entity of the world that can affect little.
And simultaneously, I'm glad that I will support that cause.
Oh, it's a great cause.
End. It's a great absolutely
cause. And look. As we talk about evolution, even at the end of the day, I have a cousin that works in meat. He's a meat purveyor or whatever it is. Like they sell the meat to all the different fast food places, all the restaurants. And I said, who are your clients? He said, McDonald's is one of my clients. And I said, how shitty is their meat? Yeah. And he goes, it depends. And I said, what do you mean? He said, well, McDonald's allows them to buy like a certain different kinds of meat. They can, and it depends on how much margin they want to make. so they can buy better meat or shittier meat, depending on how much money they want to make. And it's up to them as an owner of a franchise. And I went, oh, so like you can get really good quality meat, but you're not going to make as much money. He's like, yeah. So if you care about the people you're feeding, or if you're just some piece of shit asshole that's like, I want to make as much fucking money as possible. He said, but he goes, because of all the shit McDonald's has gotten over years, they've had to up all their levels, and they've had to buy better meat because people don't want it. Like the public incrementally is getting smarter. They're not going to change overnight. They're still, the public as a whole is a bunch of fucking idiots.
Right.
I'm one of them, but we as the masses are dumb as fuck.
Right.
But we will change over time. It's just going to take a long time. So the same thing's happening to Coca-Cola. Like things like CrossFit coming out of, they might beat CrossFit, but they're going to lose the war. I mean, like they're going to have to change.
Right.
And they are changing.
Right.
You see them talking commercial after commercial about how they're using less sugar and how they're trying to come up with alternatives and trying to use, I mean, they're not going to be able to be the Coca-Cola they were.
Right.
There will never be the Coca-Cola that it was in 1995 because that will kill you.
Totally.
And they're not going to get away with it.
Right.
Something new will get away with it, like social media.
Right.
We're going to find out 20 years from now that it was killing everyone.
Well, it's cognitively killing. I mean, look, anxiety and depression, tripling, social isolation. I mean, these are real. Well, let me just tag on to that really quickly. And just pose a hypothetical for real cost to humanity right now. If these technologies are actually addictive, and people can argue whether they are or aren't, and whether they're conditioning people, and people can argue whether they are or aren't, and that's fine. But just the sheer math of it, let's say that we've got 2.5 billion people, and I don't know, let's go real conservative, 10%? Give me a number, 10% addiction?
Mm-hmm.
So what is that? 200 million people. So has humanity ever fixed, because addiction has a cost to fix. Mm-hmm. A clinician needs to come in, diagnose it, and then go, here is what we're going to do to fix it. Now, if anybody out there has ever had a person in their life that's faced addiction, and then the subsequent psychological, mental, and financial costs of that, humanity's never seen anything like, even conservatively, 200 million people fixing an addiction that is not yet understood or defined, but we know that it's addictive because of people's behaviors on it.
Sure.
And so, so now if we've got 10 million people that by definition are addicted, which would mean that they're not functionally capable in the world, and likely giving 8, 12, sometimes 16 hours a day to these platforms, they're literally not participating in the rest of life. And so they're not contributing any value through working, let's say, and they're doing this, and then somebody's got to pick up the tab to fix this. This is very correlate to the mega health issue that, Coke is very much a part of. And so I see these things as somewhat similar because of their economic trajectories.
Yeah, that's what Lustig talks about with the sugar and the phones, the addiction in both of them, and the food industry and the technology industry both playing on the knowingly.
Well, and this is the thing, is it's a knowing situation right now. And McNamee and Zuck, points us out. And I still feel like Zuck it's a great piece on Facebook, because McNamee is one of the major players in Facebook. And, he kind of confronted Zuckerberg, and he's the most insightful person to that whole thing. And, Zuckerberg doesn't really, in many ways, have much of a choice other than to try to appear like he's
in control of something that's bigger than him.
Well, he used Tristan Harris's language. Tristan started the movement called Time Well Spent. So maybe some listeners were familiar with that when Zuckerberg used it at the beginning of 2018, when he made an announcement like, look, that we're going to realign our algorithms so that it's more in principle with this Time Well spend thing. But that
they have so many other issues though too. When it comes to politics, when it comes to privacy, I mean, it's a nightmare.
Zuboff has a great book, called Surveillance Capitalism. It is the most dense read I think I've ever experienced.
Talking about surveillance. The other day I was going for a run in the middle of the woods in Atlanta, and I said to my wife, I'm going out for like a 15-mile run or something, and she goes, can you go and find your iPhone or find my friends? And she's like, can you just sign up for whatever so that I can find you if like you get killed in the middle of the woods? And I was like, yeah, okay. So I go on there. I find out some chick I dated in Australia. I look, 3 people are following me that I didn't even know I don't know how this got turned on. Yeah. But 3 people knew where I was at all moments of my life.
So for all listeners, pay attention. Apple's a good guy in this. Google's a bad guy in this. So if your Google tracking is on, by the way, that information of your location. So this is where it gets very nefarious. And Apple's doing the good thing right now. So they're protecting your privacy. You just got to know how to turn it on. And their default settings are starting to go with this. So I'm assuming that you had some Google setting on. That's a separate thing for outside of this. But it's worth knowing that when Google will take if you've got your phone on you and you've got your Google location on, it knows what physical stores you're going into. Now, some of that information is sold to third parties. Again, this is the extraction-based thing. Those third-party resources know how to populate ads and feeds from friends that will lead you to the ads and going back to the location or purchasing something from these companies. So that's real. That's not false. This is something to be aware of.
Oh, sure.
Look, we're going to be tracked no matter what.
You saw what Cambridge Analytica did in the election.
Right. But it's important to understand which technologies, which companies are doing this and what you can do about it. So turn your location services off on Google. If you've got them, Apple's doing some good stuff when it comes to privacy specifically. They're doing some other bad stuff.
I just worked with Dave Attell last week, and he has a flip phone. He was like, and when he texts,
I'm getting a Punk, which is the modern version of it.
When he texts somebody, it takes like 3. He's got to go like A.
Yeah. Look, I'm going to get a Punked. And
what is a Punk?
It's a technology coming out of Europe. Europe's just so far ahead of us right now with the privacy issues, which I don't address in the article. But they're on it with the technology too. Mm-hmm. Punked is a phone company that has like the 4G speeds, but it's specifically meant for phone calling and texting, and you can do a couple of other things with it as well. But like, it's not meant for all the other. So that's something that
it's funny. I was on Twitter the other day and I saw a comedy club owner that I know who's a conservative.
Yeah.
Right. If the election were today, who would you vote for? Biden, Trump? I don't give a shit. We're the 3 options. And he had like 43% Trump, 14% Biden, and whatever the remaining percent, I don't give a shit. And so right away, I just put up the same poll, knowing that I probably have different friends than him.
Totally.
And it was the exact opposite, almost exact. And I sent it to him and I said, look, why would you even do this? Then this just proves confirmation bias.
100%.
It just proves that, like, if you're talking amongst your friends, you think this because everyone you're talking to thinks this also.
Well, look, Lanier points this out really, really well. And he says, there was once a time where we could agree on an event, but now real events happen and we can't agree on them.
Yeah.
So at one point, when the fellas went to go walk on the moon, humanity said, we're walking on the moon.
Right.
If that were happen today, there would be 50 different spins of that. Mm-hmm. Because we get, and this is one more of the reasons to get off. Mm-hmm. Don't be part of the system. Tell the system to fuck off and not to populate you into these groups. The companies use the language as this is optimization. That's specifically optimized to group you. But what happens when you're grouped is you unintentionally catastrophize things. And you can you do confirmation bias. Both of those are not healthy ways to develop our capacity to look at reality.
It's tough because you are being a bit of a Luddite, and we're not Amish. And
I'm not asking people to be Amish. I'm asking these companies to be somewhat responsible. I'm asking for tech designers to come up with something that is putting us in alignment with what our actual intentions are versus our impulses. What's ironic about this whole thing, Eddie, is that you saw that and like something in you needed to fucking respond. Is it a real need? No. Your daughter, Izzy, needs you. The show needs you to fucking perform well at 9 p.m. Those are the two biggest areas where you're needed. Fucking going with this knucklehead that's putting up because he's a professional on it. And are you? Neither of you are.
No, you're right.
And by the way, you guys have now created a value for the company. I'm not the Luddite. I'm the guy that's saying, hey, I'm pointing reality out. So if the Luddite is somebody who's pointing out reality, I will continue to be a Luddite. I'm so passionate about this because I want the best for people. And this doesn't put us in the lane to do our best. There are moments where we can do great things. Like, here's my kitten crossing the lawn, or here's my daughter at her birthday, and our friends in Australia or Sweden or wherever can see it. Great. But by the way, we were all of us were doing that just 10 years ago by emailing the phone, emailing the pictures that we took.
Yeah.
That was only 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And but it's just so easy. Yeah. I remember that being pretty easy too. And by the way, way more intentional.
Sure. Now, and there is that when I post, I only care about friends and family, what they think.
Right.
I don't care about, no offense, but the random people out there that I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm glad that I can create a product that you like and you like to listen to, and that I can help you by informing you and giving you information or entertaining you. But at the same time, I care what you think, because I want the show to progress and I want to make a good product or whatever my product is. But at the same time, I don't care what you personally think of me and my lifestyle choices and my family and everything like that. The only people I care that think about that are the people close to me. Mm-hmm. So it's the people on a text chain, the 8 people that I'm talking to. Mm-hmm. It's not the people on my Instagram that I've never met. The 20,000
work, you got about 150 people that you can hold space for. And it's like, you're a human and everybody's human. And for us to think that we can scale our humanity, let me say that again. Can we scale our humanity? We can scale ideas, but we cannot scale our humanity.
I heard, I forget who the guy that I was listening to, but he was saying that, social media has allowed everybody to be a celebrity, and everybody wants to be a celebrity, and in their own world they are. And I've seen it in CrossFit. I talked to Rich Froning about
you and I used to talk about this a lot because it was bizarre for us because we come from entertainment and it's just a totally different ballgame.
It was the weirdest thing in the world to watch these guys go from obscurity, which doesn't happen in our business. It goes from you work your way up.
Totally.
You're an opener. You're a feature. You're a headliner.
Totally. That's a 15-year process,
and you got to watch the guys achieve fame.
Totally.
And you got to watch them, all the steps and hoops that they had to jump through where they got this. They start headlining. They get to go to the Montreal Comedy Festival and be a new face. And then all the television people see them.
Sure.
Then they get to audition for TV shows. Then they get on a TV show. Then they and you saw it happen. They'd get the Saturday Night Live. And these guys that would get jobs were 10 years in and they'd be called an overnight success. Where in CrossFit, they would make it to the games, and all of a sudden you've got a guy who is an overnight famous.
Right.
And I talked to Froning about it. It was really funny because he gave, I always say the rich and famous or rich and significant. Right. And he was like, rich and significant. Like I don't want the fame. But my argument was that the backlash against Hunter McIntyre was so much more than him not qualifying for the games. The anger was, here's a guy who's becoming more famous than us, and we love our fame so much. And this guy didn't do what we did to become famous. So there was this horrible, horrible anger because I saw it. I think a lot of the backlash from Hollywood towards Donald Trump is because Donald Trump is more famous than everyone in Hollywood. And the Hollywood people, and I'm not a Trump fan in the least bit, in the least bit. And I'm a very moderate person. I'm not a liberal. I'm not a conservative.
Sure. Yeah.
But I'll call bullshit where there's bullshit. And a lot of this anger in Hollywood is like people used to be angry at reality stars and Kim Kardashian. How dare you, untalented person, become more famous than me when I've worked so hard to get famous? And now you're famous because you were a fuck up, or you were an asshole, or you did something, or you fucked in a porn film, or you did whatever it was, and you've become famous without talent.
Sure.
You're talentless, whatever the fuck you are.
Totally.
And so Hollywood could not grasp that this guy had mastered fame,
right?
Which he did, and has, and still has. He is a guy who said, the more you talk about me, and the more you're angry about me, the bigger I will get. And he drops it every day with shit like, oh, I'm gonna get reelected after I get reelected.
The valuation of Twitter in November of 2016 increased by $2 billion
because of him.
And it wasn't the conservative side that increased that valuation.
No,
it was the liberal side. And again, this is where we get into crazy town. We can't help ourselves but to catastrophize all these things.
I told them with Sarah Palin, when the liberals were so upset about Sarah Palin, I said, if you hate her so much,
shut up.
Shut
Totally.
the fuck up. Totally. I think it's starting to happen. You've seen this kind of arc, and I think the liberals have finally gone, maybe we need to stop focusing on him because we're just feeding into his machine. But then he'll poke them, and they go after him again.
Well, again, but if you're spending time on things that, reward impulsiveness versus intention, like those are stratospherically different concepts. And one requires like discipline, patience, forethought, planning, execution of a plan, like thinking through something. But the other is not that. And this is what some of the smartest people in the world are getting prodded and just go, well, I know I'm better than this. It's like, no, you're not, because he's winning. If you don't like him, he's winning, by the way, and you're getting prodded. Like, you
also have to give him credit.
He's brilliant. Utterly brilliant.
He's a genius when it comes to this.
Uses it better than than
anyone.
The way that it's meant to be used, he catastrophizes everything. Grand statements, great simplifier. Like, all of those things work really well in short form.
Yeah.
Again, decontextualizing, not thinking through something. It's a very elegant platform to do those things.
And he's ended up using platforms that, for the most part, well, I'm not going to group YouTube in it, because I would say that's more of a conservative platform, but you've got Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, because Instagram's owned by Facebook, that are largely liberal platforms. And he's using them to grow him.
Scorching, like kicking ass.
It's amazing.
It's funny, as we're talking, I just remember some of our shows in the early days, probably like 2013, 14, and you were talking about how it just hit me right now, like how upset you would get from, we had one show, Ban Delete User, which was, it was very specific wadcast thing. And then there was
Garth Willoughby.
And then there was another, where you were talking about all the people from talking shit and the crossover on our community and going on to YouTube, and just, you'd go, like, you'd look at the comments and just be like, you were going crazy from reading those comments, but then you couldn't not help but to read some of the comments, and that was the beginning of the open commentary on these things. And again, this is like one of those things. Would that happen? This is where the humanity piece of it, you got to know the people that you're interacting with, because nobody that you know would say those things.
No.
And if they did, you'd go, say them to my face, and if I really have contention with it, we're going to have words, or we're going to get physical.
Yeah.
And we're going to go.
Yeah.
One way or another, we're going to go.
But it's really funny how everyone can fall for it. And for years I did get involved in it. And now if I do get involved with it, it's only it's like a boredom thing. Like, well, what am I going to do for 5 minutes? I'll fight with somebody.
Engage with somebody. Pick it.
I remember one day I was talking with my agent. We were walking through Australia, walking home one night from a show. And I said, it's amazing to stay relevant in this business. You have to kind of poke the bear and be part of every argument and everything, because everybody wants to see your opinion on it. And you're this. And I go, all you have to do is say something fucking dumb or blah, blah, blah.
Totally.
And it can be the worst thing. Like, you can make a racist comment or something, and all of a sudden you're going to get castigated, but you're relevant again.
Right.
So relevancy comes up. Likability might go down,
but relevancy goes up,
and relevancy is what's so important. So I said, watch, I'm going to say something really, like, I'm just going to get involved, because I never really do.
Right.
I go, I'm going to get involved. I go, I'm going to do something. And then I woke up that night at like 6 a.m. or something that morning. I woke up, like, I don't usually wake up that early. And I woke up and I was like, scrolled through Twitter, and I saw an argument going on. And I was like, yeah, I'll jump in. And I had no intentions to do what I said I was going to do, but I did it. And then I was like, oh, I did what I said. I didn't realize till I woke up later, and friends were calling me going, you're trending on Twitter. And I said, what? They go, what have you done? The whole world's after you right now. And I had what's her name? Stormy Daniels said she started on a stand-up comedy tour. And Stormy Daniels, for those of you who don't know, is the woman that slept with Donald Trump that was a porn star, and then he paid her to keep her mouth shut, and she didn't, which is bullshit. If you're paid to keep your mouth shut, keep your mouth shut. That's not what I was talking about. Right. She was saying she was going to do stand-up comedy. I was like, keep your mouth shut. Yeah, no. I said, no, what I did say was, and I will say exactly what I said. Her argument to all these comics that were getting upset was, hey, like, they're like, you're not funny. This isn't your business. Stay out of it. And her argument was, I was on Saturday Night Live. I was in the 40-Year-Old Virgin. I've worked with like the funniest people in the world. I'm sure I can do this. And I said, I'm sure you can play Mary Had a Little Lamb on the piano. That doesn't mean, you should be headlining at the Blue Note Cafe. Right. And I said, I've slid down a pole on my kid's, playground. Doesn't mean I should be on stage at Spearmint Rhino Strip Club. And I said, and this is where I made a mistake, but I said, so for all our sake, please stay in your lane. Mm. Well, it made me learn a lot about media that day. Mm. It got completely taken out of context. It turned into white man telling a woman to stay in her lane.
Sure.
When all I was trying to say, which the truth is, I really didn't have a dog in the fight.
Right.
I could care less. If Stormy Daniels had called me and said, I'm going on a stand-up tour, can I MC for you or headline, and you go on and we're going to do I'd be like, fuck yeah, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Like, whatever. I don't care. I really don't care.
Right,
there's guys like Jeremy Piven out there doing stand-up.
Sure.
I don't give a fuck.
Right.
Like, he's got his audience. I'm going to have my own audience. And people are like, there's only so many dates at so many clubs.
Right.
Then go find another place to do it. Do it in the back of a bar. Do it in a laundromat. Charge
do
tickets.
It here.
Get your people. So I really don't give a shit. But I also was like, don't disgrace what we do. Kind of like, like, I couldn't go to the symphony. If I said, hey, I'm a famous 100%. Comedian. Can I come play in the symphony? No, there's kind of a qualification.
I did karaoke one night.
Yeah, there's kind of a qualification for this, and you're not qualified.
Right.
You're really not.
Right.
You can go out and do it, but you're not qualified.
Right.
So the onslaught began. I mean, I woke up and I just couldn't believe. I opened my Twitter feed and I was like, oh my, and all these revelations came to me. Oh, this is what I have to do to gain relevancy.
Right.
And I was like, if I continued to act like this, all of a sudden, everyone's going to know who I am. And I went, I hate this.
Right.
I don't want to be a part of this. But then, two, I was like, I really don't give a shit about this.
Right.
And these people are coming back at me so hard. I had New York Times reporters contact me, Hollywood Reporter, Rolling Stone.
Sure.
And I was like, guys, I don't really give a fuck.
Yeah.
Like, this was just a flippant thought that I had.
Right.
And you guys care so much about this because you're all so partisan, and she's on your team because she's anti-Trump, that you're going to declare war on me, this comic that just, and it was in articles and things that and Eddie Ifft said, and I was like, and friends of mine that aren't in the business were going, what have you fucking done? And I was like, I've learned a lot. Like, I didn't give a shit. People were writing the meanest, you're a nobody and she's amazing and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I hate to tell you this, guys, but I have enough self-esteem. I know it doesn't seem like it, but I do, that nothing you're going to say is going to hurt me. And I don't value anything you say. And so I'm not taking any of this personally. So whatever you're trying to do to me, yes, you can hurt some people and bully some people. You can't fucking bully me. All I'm thinking is, if I want to make a career and like, if I want to make more money in this business by increasing my relevancy, which a lot of people do, this is the game I have to play. But however, I'd rather choose it by making a better product that people enjoy, and I'm going to go work on that product instead of fucking spending my time. I mean, I probably tweet once every week and a half or something, and even when I do it, I'm like, why did I even fucking bother? Or Instagram, I post my kid and we're having fun today, and then I even go, why do I even put that up for fucking people I don't know to see? I don't like it, and it was a really good lesson for me to go, there's two ways to do it. One's a gimmick, and the other's real.
Yeah, and that's like a stark distinction between these things. And Sam Vardkin has he's the world's expert on pathological narcissism, and he has great insight, as he's kind of like one of the founders of Wikipedia. And so he understands like network effect, pathological narcissism, the web in general. Like, he understands how these things kind of network. He's a pathological narcissist himself. And the way that they found that out is a really interesting side story, not for this show. But, one of the things that he does a really good job pointing out, and something that we do need to be concerned about, is what's real and what's not. And again, everybody's going to take these individual tracks. Like, so some of the respondents were seeing you as a white male. True. You are a white male. You're also responding to something that's very innate in anybody who does something professionally, which is, you got to earn this. And that is a deeply human thing. Like, you want this? How long have you been doing it, Eddie? 22 years? 25. Right. Earn this. Like, earn this. Like, and it's fair for anybody who has done something professionally to say, I get that you want it, but wanting it and doing it sustainably are very different things. And there's a reason why, when, and I'm not advocating for rookies on any team, whether it's a high school team or a college team, to get integrated on the teams like the way that they do sometimes. But there is a reason why people want to see you go through some sort of trial and tribulation, because like you earn your spot by showing, I'm willing to work my ass off to be amongst you, which is a different conversation than I want to shortcut it. And
people's argument to that would be, hey, Kobe Bryant came right out of high school and went straight to the pros. And it's like, but Kobe Bryant was probably playing basketball since he was 5 years old.
He was
playing more than everyone else. It's funny.
He was capable, and his dad was like the dad that he had and knew how to coach him and was an expert. There's so many things.
I forget if it was Tommy Hackenbrook or Froning that said it on the show, but they were like, the CrossFitter that wins is the one that's done it the most.
Yeah.
It's like, this is a sport of incrementally building up your skills and your strengths.
Totally.
Over time, of all these things. And Froning was so funny on here talking about his addictive nature. Like, he'll sneak out of like a family party and go downstairs and do a WOD and then come up and try to wipe the sweat off, and his wife will be like, you just went downstairs and did a workout, didn't you? And he's like, yeah, I'm sorry. But it's that matter of like building it. And yes, Froning did come into the sport and his first year coming second in the games. But what you don't know is that he was in the weight room. He just wasn't
his whole
doing
life.
CrossFit
Totally.
labeled, but he was in the weight room constantly building up those skills and those muscle patterns and
all of it.
And it's the same thing with Hunter, that everybody's getting mad at Hunter,
Right.
and they're like, this guy, and I'm like, the guy works out 5 hours a day
Oh my God.
every day
He's
his
a
whole
kook.
entire life.
He is such a freak.
So just because it's not labeled CrossFit, what he does, because he doesn't do handstand push-ups every day,
Right.
he's still working on those muscle patterns and those, neural pathways, all the neuromuscular, every aspect of it to create a fit human being. So that was another example of this narcissism and everyone getting that was the whole thing of you don't deserve this.
Right.
And I saw it with a lot of guys that are like meatheads that spend a lot of time in the gym, that are that level, like almost qualifying for regionals kind of thing, that they were like, how dare this guy come in and not qualify.
Right.
And not qualify. And they didn't get that he did qualify in a different way.
Right.
Like in a way that was beyond any way they could ever qualify.
Right.
They couldn't do what he did to qualify.
Right.
And they're like, but he didn't do what everyone else did. But you couldn't do what he did.
Right.
And it was it was
right.
really funny to see. They're like, but he used social media. But I couldn't use social media and get into the games. You have to have. He had this level of a 6-time world champion.
The competency is so high. And that's interesting. And to your point with Stormy, it's like it's just a different conversation. And there's layers and nuances which are impossible to get on these platforms. And that is
impossible.
And again, this all comes into the hippocampus's ability to contextualize things and like our executive brain to do the job that it's meant to do, which is not in a stressed way, make important decisions. And like this bypasses all that stuff.
So when does this article come out?
I'll be publishing it at the beginning of July.
And you'll put it on your website?
I'll put it on the Body Knowledge website and on the Oak Park website, and I'll do a special episode of the Body Knowledge for it.
What's going on with Oak Park? How is it?
It's great. We got classes going right now, and like I'm feeling really good about like where this team is. Like,
you got a good team?
This team is.
When you say team, like your CrossFit team?
No. Team of coaches. The team of coaches. Like, I couldn't be any. Like, when I look at a group of competent. Let me put it this way: what I've always wanted was to be a student of the coaches that I've cultivated. As somebody who, I don't do special programming, I don't do my own little workouts, I don't do any online anything, I do our product here. And I'm in classes with these coaches as a student, and I can sincerely say I continue to learn from them every single day.
That's great.
And I've wanted that to happen for years, and we're there now. And it helps that collectively they got we have about 130 years of experience amongst the primary team, which is a little bit unique in this space. Usually you don't have that many seasoned people in one place. Additionally, they're really patient with me, which is not always the easiest thing, because I'm talking about like this thing that we're talking about today, and I'm overlapping all these different things and context and like human adaptive growth capacity, but that's spiritual, mental, emotional, all these things. They're able to track that, and they're able to put it in real time with our student population, and they're doing such a good job with like the people that they're in charge of. And I look at like why anybody would want to do this is what we're doing, and that feels so whole. And it has been a pain in the ass and very hard to get to this point, but I'm really feeling good about where this particular group is. And
so let me ask you this, really important: how much did you pay for this place?
The question that will never be answered. Nosy.
Someday when I get you to drink.
That will be something. You know, it's funny. I mean, here we are. Andy was in class with us earlier today.
Really?
It was just so.
How's he doing?
So great. You know, he's got a lot on his plate, but it's really cool to see, like, and for those that don't know, Andy Petronic, he's one of the OGs of the entire CrossFit space, really. And
former owner of
CrossFit LA, and also
does he coach at all?
No.
Oh, he doesn't coach at all?
No, but he's just a student, and he came as a student today, and we worked out alongside each other, and I think, man, that's a pretty rare environment.
What was your workout today? I want to know what your workout was.
It was Gallagher, or McLaughlin and Gallagher. It's basically the Australian Murph. So it's like a 200-meter run, 16 kettlebell swings, 16 pull-ups, 16 front squats, 200-meter, 14, 14, 14, 200-meter, 12, 12, 12, and then you go through that twice.
What's the weight?
115. 115 for the front squats and 24 kilos for the kettlebell. So pretty reasonable loads. And so our coach was Shirley today, and she had us picking Shirley. She had us picking an intention. For me, it was like to go unbroken on every single movement, which I can do the workout faster if I break it into small sets with really short rest. But it's funny that all those rep schemes are very easy to go for me unbroken, but the net cardiovascular impact was pretty dense.
That's one of the things I've never, as much as I've like delved into like research or movement patterns or respiratory or anything that I can find, that I've never really mastered. I'm getting a little better with the heart rate, but figuring out where you're most efficient. It's funny. I have a little like hill course around my neighborhood that's in my 1.6 miles long, and it's got 4 hills in it, 4 big uphill climbs that you're like almost touching the hill with your hands.
Yeah.
And the first time I ever did, I went out fast, and I was like, oh my God, you're walking the hills. And there were times when I went out really fast and could never, and I was like, okay, so how slow do I have to go that I can run the whole thing? So then you look at the times and you're like, okay, I can run as fast as I can and walk these hills, and I'm running just as fast as if I run it slow the whole way. And or comparable, but there's a difference. And trying to figure out, looking at my heart rate difference, which one's better for me? Which one over a longer distance would I be capable of? And what am I burning? Am I burning fat? Am I burning carbs at that point?
Sure.
And it gets really, really complicated.
Very sophisticated process, all of it.
Insanely.
The biggest help I've found in all this, and I've played with technologies a lot through the decades, and I still find that the thing that my mom was trying to teach me when I was in junior high, and the thing that made her a world-class athlete, is just paying attention to your breath and being able to command that in synchronicity with your movement. We've been longtime fans of, PSE, and all of our coaches are certified with PSE, and we're gonna be
that's Brian McKenzie's.
Yeah, Brian McKenzie's thing, and we're gonna be the first. We're going to be the first 102 student. So he's kind of finished the first one, and our entire team's going through his 102 thing here at the gym in,
Brian was very helpful with me.
Oh, he's amazing.
Yeah.
And so we've just really adopted, and Brian and I got together some years ago, and we were immediately like, I was just like, look, this is going, and this is like 2014 and 15. And I was like, full hog, this is going in the gym. And we just kind of started integrating at that point. And in the subsequent years, we just use the gear systems, and they're so helpful because
I remember when I did Murph on Memorial Day, I said, "Here's what I'm going to do tomorrow." Because I said, "I've done it 5, 10, 15. I've done it 100, 100.
Sure."
And then I even tried to do 2, 4, 6, which Armin said.
Yeah.
Armin goes, "Oh, you'll fly through it." And I was like, "No, I'm not flying through it because all this switching. I'm better at the 5,
transitions."
10. So then I went, "Okay, I'm going to go." This was an interesting way I saw to do it. 5 pull-ups, 5 push-ups, 10 or 15 squats, 5 push-ups. So 5, 5.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
15, 5.
Yeah.
Well, and I did it with Mike Anderson up in Malibu.
Yeah.
And I'm standing next to Mike. Mike's got the weight vest on. I got no weight vest on. And I'm like, and he was doing like 2, 4, 6 or something. And I'm like, geez, he's fucking flying. He's so far ahead of me. And in my mind, I didn't realize that he had a whole different rep scheme than I did. And I'm like, oh my God. Like how, and so I'm beating myself up thinking Mike's crushing me and he's got a weight vest on. And, he was very close to me. Like, and he had, much harder thing to do. But I got in my head mentally and about halfway through I switched back to 5, 10, 15 because I was like, and then I started to think so much of this is fucking mental. Yeah. Like if I just got rid of all this shit and just did it as hard as I could and cut out all this bullshit.
Yeah, no, just like for me, when I do this stuff, it's like inhale down on a squat, exhale on the way up. On the push up, inhale down, exhale up. Just follow the cadence of my breathing. And if I can't keep cadence, then I stop and then I go back. And like just that alone simplifies all of it. And I've always been good at like sort of measuring my capacity, but this just gives me a whole nother level of sophistication. It helps me recover so much. I really don't get sore. I'm like 48, coming up on 49. I'm as fit as I've ever been. I
was just going to say that. That's what I'm not getting. Like I go out for runs all the time and I do what Brian tells me, breathing in my nose and I'm breathing in my nose, out my nose. And, I will all of a sudden feel after a couple miles, shit, I can't keep up this pace.
And go to gear 4?
And I go to gear 4, and I'm frustrated that I'm slowing down. But I'm now building an aerobic capacity that I've never, ever had.
Totally.
And it's my body saying, you were going anaerobic.
Right.
Stop and slow the fuck down and go aerobic. And then the next day I wake up and I'm like, wow, I feel like I could go for another run right now. I'm fine. I'm perfectly fine.
I would argue too that there's things probably for you that we've never even explored. Like some of the Z Health stuff would be I'd be interested in like sitting with you sometime and just kind of playing like thoracic tone and things like that. So when knowing you for as long as I have, like the mouth breathing and all that, like it's naturally upregulatory, but because the way the cervical spine is positioned and knowing your general posture in general and your general thoracic tone and what that's like, how that's expressed and what it's doing to the nervous system is, jacking your heart rate more than it needs to be based on the demands of what it is you're actually doing. And you and I have talked about this offline for a long time because, endurance and middle distance has been a long time specialty for me. And it's always been very frustrating.
So frustrating.
So frustrating.
Middle distance is the hard one. Actually, the long distance is not frustrating for me.
Right.
It's actually, and coming up on trying to do this race, I'll find it, as long as I keep a slow pace, I feel like I can go forever.
Yeah.
It's that competing well at a 2 to, anywhere from 800 to 2 miles.
Right.
Goodbye.
Right.
Goodbye.
Yeah.
I just don't have it.
Yeah. That's like, and that's just such a sweet spot. Like the 800 to me is just such a pinnacle of like so many things have to happen at once. So many things.
But we've always argued that the middle distancers are the best CrossFitters.
Yeah, I would hold that forever. If somebody's a very competent 200-meter swimmer, 800-meter runner, and you're capable of putting on some mass, you're going to crush this. If you're you can go both ways.
Sure.
You're not going to be the top sprinter. You're not going to be the top distance person, but you can go far in each direction.
Right.
Versus
someone like a James Townsend
it's a stretch to go far, James. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And somebody who, now look, there's obviously some of the Aussies that have done so well coming from the triathlon background, but I would argue too, like
you're saying coming from an endurance background and not a middle distance background.
Yeah. But they're also
they probably
so
had that capable also.
Yeah. And they just happen to fall into endurance as like some sort of fitness default, or exercise default.
It's also part of their, Aussies are just fucking weird. They just exercise constantly.
They love it. They love it. The Aussies love it.
They really do.
They love this stuff.
I think James Newberry is going to be one to watch this year.
He has been coming up. He's a really composed. Look, he was one of the first adopters of Brian stuff 3 years ago, and I think the breadth advantage really goes to those people who are like really owning it, because it gives you it gives you nitrous oxide, it gives you a lot of advantages, and you're recovering like during the thing. And if you can stay composed, like I did this competition up in the NorCal Masters again this year, and I almost won the thing. And it was so fun because I was just like, I was staying nasal, like through so many of the workouts. And then I'd go gear 4, gear 5, and I knew right when to switch. I'm like, man, but I've been training that for 3 years now.
Yeah.
And so it's not new to me, and I'm still like getting good at it. And this is really about as long as it's.
I don't know if it's probably over a year, not over a year for me. I don't know what it is, but I will say this: I don't ever burn out in workouts anymore. It never happens.
You don't need
and
to.
For a while, I was like, "Oh, does this mean I'm just not pushing it as hard as I used to?" And it's like, no, I'm pacing myself, and I have figured out
you're matching your capacity
Yeah.
with your breath, and there's like this weird thing that the brain can interfere with all that, and the ego can interfere.
There's a
with
point
all
where
that.
I open my mouth sometimes where I'll go, okay, I only have a little bit left.
Dude, today I opened my mouth because I was doing the workout with Shar, and my wife, she doesn't beat me too often, but dude, she was, I mean, she is so beautiful to watch run. I mean, it's
effortless.
Yeah, she just
you're a great runner too.
I was, and I have given up some of that. Like if I'm just running, I can still run very well. But if it's mixed modal, like I'm not going to say that I look like a CrossFitter, but like, yeah, I'm just not quite the runner that I used to be. Which I'm very comfortable giving up a little bit of that to gain all these other things that I've got in the meantime.
Well, what do you think of all the steroid busts? Another thing that I said, all the things somebody said, hey, love to listen to this show so Eddie can tell us all how gets all the guests on to tell him how right he is. And I was like, when I read that, I was like, I'm going to have Kenny on. And so Kenny can back up that I was. Remember I said people are going to stop affiliating a lot because everybody's going to know this. Totally. It's going to be functional fitness. Why pay for a certification when you feel like you have that body of knowledge already and you don't need to pay for it? And all gyms are going to start to look the same, and you're going to have Gold's gyms and Globo gyms that have a functional fitness.
Yeah, the market will adjust, and then it's
so. Then what matters again is your coaching, your relationship with your clients.
Totally.
So it doesn't matter what you are. And I said that once there was money in this, it was going to bring drugs into it. They're busting people left and right now.
Sure.
And it's hard now. I would like to believe, and I've talked to a lot of these athletes, and I like them personally. I would like to believe that every one of them is honest and doesn't do it, but there's cheating in every. It was so funny. I was out the other night. I was out with a guy from NASCAR, and I was out with not NASCAR. What was it? Not a NASCAR guy. He was
ping pong. He's professional.
No, he's not a NASCAR guy. He's a
billiard player.
He's a movie guy, but he's a NASCAR. He's like a massive NASCAR fan. Okay. He was just talking about all the cheating that goes on in NASCAR. And then we had this cycling guy who's a fan of the show who, works for one of the bike companies, and he was talking about bike racing and how much cheating goes on, and not so much cheating, but trying to gain an added advantage, where people will do any little thing they can to get an added advantage. And if anyone doesn't believe that there's drug use in CrossFit, just listen to Victor Conti on Joe Rogan's episode, the guy who created Balco Laboratories. And he just talks about how they would change a drug by one molecule to make it passable. And if it's passable, if you're using a PED that's not detectable, is that not legal then?
Right.
So we're living in a world right now where it's ungovernable. Is that a word? Ungovernor.
I don't know how one would want. I
think it should be like the bodybuilding world, where there is a drug category and there's a natural.
Totally.
But even in the bodybuilding natural categories,
people are using,
which is the weirdest thing in the world to me.
Totally.
That someone will go into that and cheat.
Totally.
So, like, I get that people cheat in CrossFit, and I don't care, except for the fact that there are people that don't cheat and give them the advantage also.
Exactly.
Or the opportunity, or if they want to go, look, you have the opportunity to compete in a certain age group. You could lie about your age. Or you could just go in your age group. So why not go in the group of people that don't use drugs?
Right.
And then there's a group that, hey, we're the fucking biggest, baddest motherfuckers in the world. And we use clenbuterol and we use Anavar, Minstrel, and and you want to compete with us?
Let's go.
Start injecting, start working out, come up to our level. Lance Armstrong said I was the best on steroids. I would have been the best off steroids because I competed on an even playing field with everyone else that was doing drugs.
Right.
And I just find it's hard to watch. It's hurting the sport now because you're going, well, they must be. Or if this guy loses, oh, maybe he wasn't, and it sucks for him.
Yeah.
Or look at this guy who just came up, and how do you know? And so everybody's suspect now.
Yeah. You know, Yami Tikkanen is one of my best friends, and he's coached multiple podium finishers and games champions, and he arguably the greatest CrossFit coach that's been for competitive CrossFitters since it got big in 2010, 11, 12. And because he's worked, you know, with everybody from Miko to Annie and Bjorkvan, and so he's got a very like big group. Ricky Garrard was one of his athletes who, you know, kind of came out of nowhere. Ben, who's, I mean, like I know
Ben
Ricky
just got busted last week.
I didn't know that, and they're good guys.
Yeah,
you know,
Ben got busted for using the same PED that Ricky used.
I actually didn't know that, and you know,
in Duraball or something.
Yeah.
I forget what it is.
Okay, well, you know, it's like one of those things where Yami is so insightful. He really is one of the most intelligent human beings and the most insightful people that I've ever come across, who has a good eye for who's sort of using and who's not. Mm-hmm. And he, in his camps, when he's with his athletes, I mean, he lives with them when he's in these camps. So he's like attentive to everything that goes in them, and he's very aware. And I would say like Annie and, Frederick, people that he's close to and sees the most, like certainly do not.
Right.
But I know that it was so, and I don't want to speak for him, but I remember how like disappointed he was in Ricky, but also just himself for not knowing as a coach, because he keeps such a watchful eye on his guys, and he knew that Ricky was super talented. He knew that he was coming up. He knew that, you know, genetically, I mean, they're both fantastically capable. I mean, the family, I mean, they're just freaking jacked, able, and they're perfectly built for it. And, you know, it's just one of those things where, you know, there's such a reality to it that I think long-term the solution will be, you know, like if we're going to continue doing this thing, we'll sanction usage and we'll sanction non-usage, and
we have to
because
I mean, but it's, you know, it's bad for younger kids. It's bad for when I was in high school, we had a family in my high school that was really good at sports.
Yeah,
really good. A bunch of brothers that ended up coming up. One of the brothers ended up going pro, NFL, and they were all the best on the team.
Yeah.
At whatever age they were, when they came through, they were the best player on the team. And they were all in the weight room all day long and were huge. And you just assumed that their father was a I believe like a college football player, NCAA Division I. And you just looked at them like they have superior genetics, they're better than all of us. We're never going to be that. And it's frustrating because you go, "Oh, I can't be that because they're that good." Only to find out years later that they were using steroids in high school.
Wow.
And you go, well, maybe I could have and was better, and I got defeated in my head because I was looking at their genetic superiority when it didn't exist.
Right.
When it was artificial.
Sure. No, and that's like...
And that's where it gets unfair. And I'm not saying like, woe is me. I'm saying woe is our culture, that the people cheating, I don't care if you're going to cheat, because it's impossible not to cheat. Like, it's impossible.
Well, there's so much, you know, again, this gets into, you know, risk management and how do you mitigate against these things? And the risk, like, you know, if you get away with it, it's whatever the rewards are monetarily, and the difference is your recovery. The difference is your strength. It's just sort of like...
And if you take an athlete, let's say an athlete wins the Tour de France or wins something and goes on to retire, and then 10 years later goes, oh, by the way, I used drugs.
Right.
They're still a success story.
Right.
No one cares that they used the drugs. It's over and done with. Now, if they get busted, like somebody does a drug test on them, says, we found that they were using this.
Popped.
You're busted. You're done, and you're hated. So we don't care if you used. We care if you got caught.
Right.
And so
right.
I saw it with Ricky Gerard. I saw it with when people were mad at Hunter, they were mad at Hunter for qualifying for the games in what they thought was a cheap, shitty way.
Yeah.
No one gave a shit that Ricky was using drugs and came in second or third in the CrossFit Games. They didn't care about that.
Right.
And I'm like, so you guys think Hunter cheated, but you don't think Ricky Gerard cheated. And it just now more and more, I think people are starting to get like, oh, look at, the Invictus had a team member just come down, and people are getting busted left and right. And it's the Invictus one, I think, is a little more. There's a little more nuance to it because it's a really strange number that seems incredibly low.
Yeah.
To I don't know the ins and outs of it. You'd have to go to Arm & Hammer TV to know every fucking fact about.
Yeah.
I mean, Armin knows,
geeks out on all this stuff.
He is the guy. He is now the go-to guy.
It's funny. I talked to CJ a couple of weeks ago. This didn't even come up.
But it was a low number. I know, so much so that it's like, that's weird that they even busted this person. And it's actually, I think it was a girl from Scandinavia.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. But.
Well, look, as they globalize this and it will become something that international associations start to pay a little bit more attention to, and governing bodies for each of the countries will also need to pay attention.
Still not going to get around it. I keep trying to say I want to have like a steroid roundtable in the show. Have on the guys that have done it. Right. There's athletes out there that will admit to it. Yeah. There was I forget his name. One of the, I believe he was an Invictus team member who said he was using a few years ago, 2014 or something, and when he was in the games. Yeah. These guys that have used, guys that know how to use, guys that do it still, just everybody sit around and talk about it because it's bullshit. Like it's. I would just like to when I
to investigate.
I'd like to see an even
psychology a little bit.
And go, okay, this
totally. And it's impossible. It's like, it's so hard to
stop it,
to stop it. And then also to tell, like, it's just sort of like, man, how do you, and then if people are, and then if you've got like 10 users, 3 are getting popped, but the other 7 aren't, like, where, like, how, the circularity of rationality just gets dissolved in that process.
And there's also this. I said to Derek Johnson once, I said, how come you don't qualify for the Olympics? And he's like, because I can't compete with those guys.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, I can't, because I'm not using drugs like they are. And he said, and I said, doesn't that bother you? And he goes, no.
Right.
Because when I'm 45, my joints are going to be okay, and my ligaments are going to be fine, and I'm not going to have fucked up my spine.
Right.
And he's like, so it does. And I was like, okay, so maybe there is an even.
No, there are. Well, no, it's not. But there are people that are playing, not using. It's just like, how do you know?
You don't. And it's really hard. I've had a million athletes on this, and every time we get off air, we start talking about it, and they all go, this guy and this guy. Right. And I can tell you this, guys that have accused people, I know for a fact.
Right, because they've been on the other side of the accusation from somebody else.
And it's like, so who do you trust?
Yeah, right.
So I don't know.
That's interesting, too.
It's going to be a very, very interesting year, and more interesting is next year to see what's going to happen with the games, with CrossFit, where it's going,
yeah, totally. Well, we'll have to come back and kind of...
Any predictions?
For what part of that? I mean, that's a lot of stuff.
For games and for CrossFit in general.
I think that look, this thing is still growing so fast in
other countries.
So you got the Soviet Union coming up, you got China coming up, you got Eastern Europe coming up. Those are 3 areas with some incredible athletes on or not on any juice, like with backgrounds in gymnastics and Olympic weightlifting. I mean, these are competent movers who are going to be, teenagers out in these countries are going to be doing this stuff. They're like, we're going to see some stuff as long as it holds on as a sport. Like on the top end, we'll probably see some stuff that we've yet to see yet, because there's some 17-year-old Chinese kid that we've never met yet, who in 4 or 5 years is going to be at peak everything. You're like, wow, okay, we thought we knew, but we didn't.
Yeah,
and because he was Olympic lifting at 4.
Yeah,
and on some gymnastics team. You know what I mean? Like, how do you like? There's just so much that we don't know. Like all all the Eastern European countries too that are like flocking to this. Like, it's funny. It's coming down in the States, but it's growing elsewhere.
It is. It's growing worldwide. But when I got to like the production, it's a weird time with it growing worldwide. And the tip of the spear, a lot of people claim, is what all the games athletes I talk about are like, hey, we're the bastard child now, and CrossFit wants nothing to do with us, and they're, pushing us to the side. But we're the ones that got on ESPN. We're the ones that made everybody want to do it.
Yeah, I would actually, I appreciate that from a sentimentality perspective. But the thing that got everybody there is the efficacy of this thing in the first place when done well. And the question for everybody is, how can we do this well in two different distinct areas? One, as a sport. Two, for people's health. And like, the methodology is so good despite all the weird manifestations that it's taken. The original journal articles, the methodology that binds this, the simple idea, are you prepared for a variety of contingencies, really exists on training a variety of ways, 3 days on, 1 day off. I mean, that's the basic description of this thing. But nobody exercised that. Like, for some people, because you have to plop a market on top of that. And what the market said is, we have memberships. And membership said you can come 2 days a week or 3 days a week. And then some people said, well, screw it, I like this so much, I'm going to train every class and do my own training, and I'm going to do extra, and I want to go to the games. So now you've got this like stratospheric differential in each of these little houses that are 100 people big to 300 people big to 500 people big, where you got the stratospheric difference. And again, like, the thing that works originally is that thing that you don't get in other modalities, which is, for a moment, time collapses in your day. You're focused on your breath, on the movement, on the difficulty of the task. And that is something that all humans can relate to for just a few moments. And you do that with other humans. And that is binding for humanity through all times. The reason why we have survived as a species is because we've done hard shit together. And now in modern civilization, the place that we can do that is a gym environment. So there's like a deep anthropological reason why that has meaning.
Sure,
but again, it gets messed up for all sorts of reasons.
All sorts of reasons.
All sorts of reasons.
Another reason being, and I've discussed this a lot, and I don't want to open up another can of worms, but the games expanding the way it did and getting so complex and so intricate, because it was fun to watch, and I get it. And everybody wanted, it started out as 2 days, then it was 3 days, then it was 4 days, and it was all these events, and Reebok gets involved, and it just grows and grows and grows. And now you've got the Open and the Open qualifier. And what it went from, CrossFit's whole idea was, it's all about coaching, it's not about the equipment. I used to say this all the time. Would you go to the best CrossFit gym with the best equipment and a shitty coach, or would you go to the most amazing coach with little equipment?
Right.
And I think any great athlete would say, I'd rather
take the second one.
I'd rather take the second one. Well, for some reason, all of a sudden it became, we have to go to the gym. And the market demanded.
The market,
demanded that you have all that equipment,
all the stuff.
And but the games contributed to that with, we're gonna
100%.
have 25 people coming into your gym, and you need 35-pound dumbbells, 45-pound dumbbells, 65-pound dumbbells, and all of a sudden you're spending more money than a Globo gym.
Totally.
And that took the whole concept out of its creation, and that metamorphosized it into this impossible way to make money. So you've got these gyms that are not making money anymore because of this.
There's a grim reality out there.
And that was everybody getting away from, as much as I shit on Greg Glassman.
Yeah.
I've actually come full circle, and it might be because I'm a contrarian and I always try to be different, and now everybody's shitting on him.
Yeah.
I'm back in his corner where I'm like, you know what? If you guys had all stuck to his original plan,
totally,
you'd all be doing well right now.
Yeah, but there's so many elements to that, like and I've said this for a long time. There's been a question: is CrossFit a noun or is it a verb? Like, it's like it gets spun, and it has that, depending on who you talk to, has its own life. And so again, like, with these decontextualized, fractured bits of information with our like general understanding of the stuff, like we're really shrinking down our capacity to have the conversation about what it can do for people's health. Look, Glassman is right. Like when you look at the major things, like a basic prescription, like the original prescription works, A1C, bone density, lean muscle mass, like all of it can be improved with this style of training, done well. And that's the other part. And that requires a lot of people thinking a little bit more.
Holy shit. I just realized I never pressed record.
Are you serious?
Oh my God.
Oh, fuck, Eddie. What time is it? And I am really late right now.
I'm fucking with you.
That was so good. That was so good, Eddie. You sold that. And I didn't realize that it was this late.
Oh my God, I've got to be somewhere too. I got to be in Burbank.
No, you heard me tell my wife that I'd be home 5:30 to 6.
But all right, thanks for listening to the show. Where can they find you, Kenny?
Okay, go to thebodyknowledge.com or listen to the Body of Knowledge podcast. Also, you can find me and my team at oakparkla.com.
Goodbye. Thanks for listening.